Jeffrey Bezos and Lauren Sanchez had a huge multi-million-dollar celeb-filled wedding in Venice, Italy.
Jeffrey Bezos.
And it was a wedding filled with billionaires like Oprah, actors like Orlando Bloom, and famous faces like Kim Kardashian. While the attendees share their congrats to the newly married couple, the wedding itself drew criticism from the citizens of Venice.
They weren't so happy.
From celebs as well.
Yeah, they weren't so happy. And they were actually setting off bonfires.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
No, but I mean, why are they not happy?
I think because everything was taken over. It became pandemonium was their take.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't understand how it could be pandemonium listen, there's only a certain amount of rooms in that city that are available. So it's not like...
Well, you have the paparazzi coming in. You have all the media coming in. You have all the people coming in to cover it. I think that was their issue.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are people that live there.
Yeah.
There's this giant onslaught of all these people coming in, and they're taking over, and they just saw it as kind of overstepping a little bit.
I think there's also some resentment for anyone ever being able to buy an entire city for a few days and spending however much money he had.
Yeah, my point really is, like, if he didn't buy it, then somebody else was going to buy it. You know what I mean? So somebody was going to be there. Somebody was going to be renting the houses and the villas and...
It's different when a bunch of people do it versus one person.
At once, in the enormity of this focus, everything was focused on this event. Mm-hmm. It is a tourism town, certainly, but this was a little bit more focused. A lot more focused.
Like I said, some celebs had a thing or two to say. Rosie O'Donnell said, it turned my stomach seeing all these billionaires gathering and the gross excess of it all, the show of it. She said, is Oprah friends with Jeff Bezos? Really? How is that possible? He treats his employees with disdain. Charlize Theron also recently joked that the people who got invited to the wedding suck. Olivia Munn took the high road, though, praising Bezos' ex-wife, Mackenzie Scott, for donating over $19 billion to over 1,600 charitable organizations so far, commenting that it was truly incredible on Instagram post. She had previously called out the all-female space flight that Sanchez went on with Bezos' company Blue Origin as gluttonous, but she changed her tune to talk about his ex-wife and how great she is. So.
I'll tell you what, you know how you know this thing is huge? Like you go to the gossip sites like TMZ, or any of them, Just Jared, all the ones that get a lot of traction online. You had to go 30 pages in before you got anything that wasn't related to this event.
Yeah.
I mean, it was that many stories about this thing.
Wow. All right, here's a follow-up. We told you that Martin Kove was accused of biting one of his Cobra Kai co-stars at a fan convention last weekend. The actor later apologized. No charges were filed, but it seemed that this is not his first time under this kind of scrutiny. Deadline reported that Kove's behavior on the final season of Cobra Kai allegedly led to an investigation by Sony Pictures Television. An on-set extra reportedly filed a sexual harassment complaint against Kove in April of 2024. The accusations allegedly did not involve any physical contact, but the young actor said they felt uncomfortable around Kove. According to the report, Kove was never formally asked to leave the set, but was encouraged to apologize to the individual, despite just being a creepy old man. You know what I mean?
I apologize.
Further details surrounding the incident have not been released. In a statement, Kove responded to the report of questionable on-set behavior.
Do you think that's a valid legal defense if you go up against, if you say, I'm just a creepy old man?
Maybe. Kove responded to the report of questionable on-set behavior, saying this is so bizarre, and it was in April of last year. If there was something to confess, I would be the first to say it. Sony did ask me about the alleged incident, and I was completely transparent. It wasn't true then. It isn't true now. That's what he had said about that. So, but yeah, somebody, I could see it. I could
That's
totally.
it. You can only go on instinct, and I could see stuff like this happening. And it is bizarre to bite someone's arm.
Yeah. Tone it back a little bit, bud. All right, so our buddy, Rob McElhenney, has filed to legally change his name. He wants to change it to Rob Mac after concerns that he's doing business with, those he's doing business with in other regions of the world won't be able to pronounce his name. He filed documents in Los Angeles to officially make the change, despite going to buy Mac during business negotiations for multiple weeks prior. His company, More Better Productions, which was behind Welcome to Wrexham, has been investing in teams in South America where he's concerned that there will be struggles with his multi-syllabic name. McElhenney explained, saying, as our business and our storytelling is expanding into other regions of the world and other languages in which my name is even harder to pronounce, I'm just going to go by Rob Mack.
I can see that. I mean, you know that it's now Arnold Schwartz.
I find it strange that this deep into his career,
exactly,
that he is going to change it. I don't think it will affect him negatively, but I mean, that's a bit of a leap when you've built years and years and years on creating this name and this success story. So
It's Always Sunny, Mythic Quest, Wrexham, all of these things that he has. But at this point too, I guess he thinks moving forward and expanding, he wants to make it a little bit more accessible, or maybe in the long run, he just thinks this sounds cooler.
I feel his pain. I mean, I have a similar pronounced last name, and McElwain is difficult to pronounce, and it's more difficult around the world, So, like, I don't blame him for wanting to do it. I am a little surprised it's taken this long. But at one point, I considered changing my last name for radio purposes to just Nick Mack or McWayne or something along those lines, because that many syllables becomes difficult for people.
Achmel. He admitted that he had been concerned that altering his name would be disrespectful to his ancestry. However, he discovered that some of his relatives had already altered the spelling of their surname across generations to make it easier to spell and pronounce. When celebrating his birthday, close family members revealed that they were okay with editing the name's spelling. Caitlin has said, however, that their two sons were a little less enthused about it. She said the kids are really not happy about it because they have that last name. And so do I, legally, she said, despite keeping Olsen as her on-screen moniker. But yeah, Rob's changed his name to Rob Mack.
So I know we're going to talk about this later, but that is, those are all the ramifications of that. Who is, when you walk into a place or there's a reservation and it's under Rob Mack, or, do people, I don't know who this guy is. There's something to having a celebrity name too.
Oh yeah. Well, listen, I don't use my real last name, and I've said that for many years. And just when we were in Hershey, I'm like, all right, what name are they going to have for me when I get here? Happens every single time. I have to juggle a couple of different names, and every now and then you got to jump through some hoops and get somebody to verify this is indeed you, and it's kind of a pain in the ass.
Well, when you first met me, I was Steve Mellencamp.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you changed it.
And then I changed it.
I'm glad you did.
Though.
Yeah, Morrison's better.
Well, it was Cougar, then Morrison.
Khloe Kardashian opened up about her cosmetic procedures in response to a viral Instagram post from plastic surgeon Dr. Johnny Betteridge, who speculated on the work that she'd had done. While she called the guesses a great compliment, she clarified that many were incorrect, and then she listed her actual procedures. She said, I've been very open in the past about what I have done. She confirmed a nose job by Dr. Raj Kanadia, laser hair removal, Botox, Sculptra injections after tumor removal, and soft wave laser treatments. And she also admitted having filler in the past, but said that it's been years since her last treatment.
So to the untrained cosmetic surgeon eye, Preston, you look at the split screen here up on the studio TV.
Yeah.
It looks like a lot more took place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that is a complete transformation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's way different. But she also said that she credited her changing appearance to lifestyle changes, too, including losing 80 pounds.
Yeah.
And using collagen threads, facials, peptides, and vitamins.
And a head transplant.
She emphasized that she prefers non-surgical methods first, sharing in 2025 there are many other things that we can do before surgery. But when it's time, I know some great doctors.
So you can see she's had her nose thin. She's had her jawline contoured. What is that latest thing that they're doing where they, with the jawline, where the contouring, the procedure that's all the rage. Marisa, you know?
I think it's called the buccal removal.
That's it.
The fat.
Yeah.
The buccal removal.
You get the buccal out of your fat face.
Like that.
Yeah.
Imagine having to be constantly concerned about your appearance. I mean, listen to all that's been done and all these various little minutia that around your face alone.
How liberating is it that we years ago could just say, forget it.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to fix this and move on.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't matter. This is as good as it's going to get.
Sorry, hon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got stuck. You lost.
All right, so what else do I have here for you? All right, it's been known for months apparently, but nothing is official until it's Instagram official. And the Paul Mescal Gracie Abrams relationship has now reached that level. It was Gracie that pulled the trigger, posting a short video clip of her astride Mescal's shoulders singing during Olivia Rodrigo's set at Glastonbury.
Yes.
She also posted a clip of Mescal and his, quote, normal people co-star Daisy Edgar Jones singing along during her own set. Mescal and Abrams have been rumored to be dating for almost a year now and often show up in each other's socials, but this is the first time that the Instagram has featured them together.
They were next spotted at the Sebastian Bach concert, Preston. Oh, it's amazing. He was in the second Gladiator, yes?
Yeah.
Is that who that was?
Yeah.
I don't even know who the guy is. Here I am.
I know that name, but I think I'm like, when I hear that, I think of Pedro Pascal.
Right. Yeah, but he is the Pedro Pascal is the villain to the good guy gladiator Mescal.
Okay.
All right. Apparently, it is over for Love is Blind star Chelsea Blackwell and now former boyfriend Tim Tebow.
Nothing is over. Nothing is over.
It's over.
No.
It's over, John.
Nothing is over.
Oh, wow.
The reality.
Love is eternal.
Love is eternal.
Love is eternal. What do you laugh? You don't believe it? Coming back from Vietnam, telling me the love's not eternal, spitting on me, calling me romantic. I don't need that.
The reality star posted the news on her TikTok over the weekend.
TikTok? That's what the clock makes. What? I got to calm down.
It was in a short, quote, get ready with me clip.
What?
I don't know what that means.
It's a quote, what?
It's just the get ready with me. It's a trend on social media.
Oh, yes, where they're going through their morning ritual.
Well, yeah, and it's kind of like
It's like what did the video of Khloe Kardashian putting on her new head.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
what, getting ready to go out or something?
Yeah,
Doing your makeup?
whether it be going out for like a night out or just a regular like work day or whatever. Yeah, it starts with makeup. Usually starts with them and like their underpants. And
Rambo could do this.
This is me.
Yeah, you do.
Waking up early. I wake up in a jail. I was just walking through town, and they put me in jail. And this is me beating up a guy in the jail. And now I'm in the woods killing the people that are coming after me. And now I'm putting on camouflage, and I'm covering over the white parts of my face because it's dark and I don't want to be seen. And this is me jumping off a cliff and falling through the trees and somehow surviving.
There is a scene, if you remember, where he's getting ready. They were going to process him, and they have to shave him.
Yeah.
You remember? So
Me
there's
get shaved.
that
And this
part.
is me getting the bulk of fat removed from my cheeks. Buka.
this is me being showered with a fire hose.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
is me
that-
being Billy clubbed.
That's right. They quote unquote needed to delouse him.
Right? It's
Yeah.
me putting my foot up David Crusoe's ass.
All right, so yeah. Anyhow, she was doing the "Get Ready with Me" clip, and she said, "How the absolute hell do you find your spark again after walking away from the man you were going to marry?" The couple debuted their romance 8 months ago. This is back once again. This is from Love Is Blind.
Yeah.
So take that.
That's
for
a show your wife watches,
what you
right?
will. Yeah, it's one of those. So I don't know how up to date she is. She hasn't been watching it in a while, though.
I got to do one of these. This is me getting ready.
She bailed on it.
It's the most boring ritual.
All right, very happy to see this over the weekend. Both Nick and Casey sent me the trailer. Ryan Gosling plays a reluctant astronaut, or astronaut, as he tries to explain in the trailer, tasked with trying to save the entire planet in the upcoming sci-fi movie Project Hail Mary.
Okay.
This book is fantastic. I've read it twice.
The guy who wrote The Martian,
By
right?
Andy Weir, who wrote The Martian, and the science, the math, all the things joined in with the great storytelling and great humor as well. Believe it or not, I know that we rip on the fact that The Martian was entered as a comedy, but there's a lot of funny moments in the book and the movie, and the same thing in Project Hail Mary. It's the same type of tone, but it is. The book is so smart. It is so well written.
No, I love The Martian, and I'm very much looking forward to this. Let me ask you something, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
There is a reveal about, watch the trailer,
Yeah.
that I thought should not be in the trailer.
I was curious if they were going to leave it in there too, but it is such a huge part of the story.
But you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, that they had to allude to it. I thought they were going to stop right before they got to it,
right?
And they show it, but I think that's just to get people excited to go see it. Maybe.
I mean, how did Rambo get there?
Hey, I know you.
It's a different Stallone character.
Close. It's a different Stallone character that he plays off of.
It's I mean, it's like halfway through the book that character shows up in the so it's not that much of a surprise. You know, it's a fairly significant part of the book.
Yeah.
Here's something that was really cool. Our friend Perry Shao, local artist, does concert posters. Did our concert poster for the Camp Out Unplugged.
Yep.
At one point, Ryan Gosling's character is wearing a T-shirt. Perry Shao designed that T-shirt for a band. Yeah, he says, there's a guy, I guess a musician named Hermanos Gutierrez. He designed the shirt for their single "Blood Milk Moon," and he's wearing it.
Oh. Do you like the selection of Ryan Gosling as the lead? I think he's that perfect kind of guy. At least from what I understand, this character.
Here's the thing:
is supposed to be.
I listened to the book twice as well, and again, I'm like, here I'm listening to somebody else narrate it or whatever. So yeah, for him to be Ryland Grace, great. There's a woman that was cast. In my mind, she was always a brunette, like dark haired, and in this movie, she's got like light hair, like strawberry blonde hair.
Yeah, that didn't really throw me off too much. But I think Ryan Gosling, Steve, because the character, even though he's kind of in the book, he's an average Joe.
Right.
He doesn't look like Ryan Gosling.
Well, they got to do that.
He is a little aloof, and Ryan can play that way.
Yeah.
So I think I think it's going to serve the character well. So we'll see. But the Gosling plays a teacher who's recruited against his will to head into space in a last-ditch effort to save humanity. The movie hits theaters March 20th of next year. So I'm excited about that. Vin Diesel is teasing an epic comeback, and it may be on the way for the Fast and Furious franchise. On Saturday night, Diesel and his co-stars Tyrese Gibson and Cody Walker were at Fuel Fest, a car enthusiast event in Pomona, California. During his appearance, Diesel told fans that they might expect, or what they might expect from the next Fast and Furious film. He said, "The studio said to me, Vin, can we please have the finale of Fast and Furious in April of 2027? I said, under 3 conditions. First is to bring the franchise back to L.A. The second thing was to return to the car culture, to the street racing. And the third thing was reuniting Dom and Brian O'Connor. And it's the last thing that had fans' pulses racing because Brian O'Connor character was famously played by Paul Walker.
That's right.
How do you bring him back? It's CGI? I don't know.
Well, they
AI, whatever it is.
They could have his brother, who looks remarkably like him, play him. Yeah. In fact, he did serve as sort of a body double when they CGI'd his face onto him. It wasn't that much of a leap.
Right.
So any plans on how they're going to do that?
No. This is what he's asked.
Well, family.
This is what he asked them for.
Family.
So I don't know if
family.
I don't know if
family.
He'll get what he wants.
Family.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they're making the smart move by ratcheting it back a bit. I mean, it is outlandishly going into space, submarines. I mean, all this crap. I mean, there's just at a certain point, you've gone too far.
Yep.
Take it back to the street culture, dude. Give it the F1 treatment. Give it the Maverick treatment.
Right.
Do all.
They should take it up a few notches. They need to put it together with like Jurassic Park.
Right, yeah.
Just get as ridiculous
about dinosaurs.
They possibly can.
You know that
family of dinosaurs. It basically Meet the Croods.
That's a legit rumor, by the way.
Shut up.
That there's going to be 3 franchises that combine: Jurassic Park, Fast and Furious, and Transformers. They're all under the Universal Comcast umbrella.
What's going on here?
Throw some Navi in there.
I mean, honestly.
Oh, no, man. You're blue, and you're a dinosaur, and you're the Croods.
Yeah. All right, well, we shall see. The Devil Wears Prada 2 is now in production, and even better news is they are bringing the band back together. Filming is now underway for the long-awaited sequel, and Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, Emily Blunt, and Stanley Tucci are all on board.
I
finally.
love this, and I love the angle that they're taking. The Anna Wintour character is basically Dalton from Roadhouse.
Dude.
And I think that is such a cool departure.
Yes. Yeah. Until it's time not to be nice.
Never be nice.
Joining the core is Academy Award winner Kenneth Branagh, who will play the husband to Streep's Miranda Priestley.
Yeah, me. Sam, hey, Miho.
Sam Elliott.
I always wear them clothes. Doesn't everything you have has sleeves.
The 2006 original was a box office winner, scoring $125 million domestically and over $326 million worldwide.
I love the movie. Though in the movie, she gets separated. It's a big part of the movie. She gets divorced.
Yeah.
During the
well,
movie.
and the guy mentions she had been through a few divorces.
Right.
So she's just moved on to another guy, I guess. The movie is slated to hit theaters next May 1st. All right, and then let me see if I got time for one more. Yeah, so Netflix is expanding its live streaming ambitions by partnering with NASA to bring NASA Plus programming to the platform later this year.
I think this is a great idea, and their first project out of the gate is Tiger King in Space, which I think could be awesome.
So this marks the first time that Netflix will carry a live feed from an outside programmer in the U.S. Previously, its live content was limited to in-house or exclusive events primarily focused on sports. NASA Plus offers free content on NASA's site and YouTube, and recently struck a similar deal with Amazon Prime Video. The collaboration aligns with NASA's goal of reaching a wide audience as outlined in its Founding Space Act.
So they're going to have launches and live feeds from the
it's what it sounds like.
ISS, and they're going to have spacewalks and stuff like that. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Additional details about the NASA Plus rollout on Netflix will be announced closer to launch. All right, let's play some clips for you. The crime series Countdown sees Nathan Blythe creating a task force of special agents to prevent a murderer from causing more pain to people in Los Angeles. And here, Eric Dane details why the series isn't like most procedurals.
Procedurals can get a little bit formulaic. This show is a different kind of procedural where it actually takes time to take a breath every now and again so that we can examine the characters, see how the interplay between them and the others, sort of understand the dynamics that, watch these guys behave.
The next episode of Countdown airs tomorrow, and that's on Amazon Prime. All right, next clip. Smoke details Dave's mission to weaken the efforts of two arsonists who will stop at nothing to light their whole town on fire. In this clip, Taron Egerton shares the intense feeling that he had when stepping into his role.
David Bowie said that famously. You should just feel deep enough in the pool that your feet can't quite touch the water. I may be misquoting him, but he said something to that effect. And I think it's really true. And I absolutely felt that way with this. I felt worse than that. I felt like there was no bottom to the pool. It just felt like such a mammoth challenge.
The first two episodes of Smoke are streaming now. You can see that on Apple TV Plus, by the way.
I saw the trailer, for that. It looked pretty interesting. Have you watched it at all, Case?
No.
Yeah.
No, nothing about it.
I have not checked that out.
It looks a lot like Backdraft.
All right, that's the entertainment report for today, friends. The first day of July, mind you. We're in July already.
What in the hell?
It is just zipped right by. The summer, we're like halfway through the summer.
What I like about this particular summer is that it's rolled out in the right way. It has been very comfortable up to now, and we're getting... It's been a steam bath.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back in just a moment, and we'll keep this forward momentum going on a Tuesday. Stay with us. We'll return shortly, my friend.
Preston and Steve.
We were able to talk him down a little bit, and so the manager had to come out, and I said, listen, the way this is written on the menu, it makes it, I thought this was $10.
Put your mother on the phone.
Preston, so the name of this place in Mykonos is called the DK Oyster Bar.
Yes.
And I brought up, and you mentioned in the B file, the people go to TripAdvisor to rip on this place. They do. And so I want you, Preston, to just read these as I scroll through. The
All right, the top one
reviews.
is the one from the story I just recounted. Here's another one. A scam waiting to happen on the unsuspecting masses of vacationers heading their way. The waiters tried selling us food. Each kept giving us different prices. We kept to drinks after hearing about the bad reviews. Another one says, I went to this place on a family vacation and was left horrified and ripped off. Asked several times for the prices. The waiters kept telling me it was cheap and not to worry. The bill was over 400 euros for a couple of badly made drinks.
I mean, it's 1 star after 1 star after 1 star. I feel robbed.
The
So that's
waiters
the
and staff
scam.
are extremely intimidating, especially when questioning the bill. These people are a bunch of scam artists. I really wish I read more reviews before coming here. Wow. This one says, we were lured to dine at their restaurant by friendly, pushy waiters offering us comfort in the sun.
Oh, so this is a full-on scam.
Yeah, we were then pushed into ordering food from menus without prices, but the waiters seemed so energetic, smiling, impatient that we felt obliged not to be a nuisance. Long story short, we, a family of 6, paid almost as much for this one meal of our vacation as we did the entire hotel stay of 5 days.
Jesus.
And I can't see how the prices they charge are warranted. I'll never be coaxed off of the beach again into any establishment without reading the reviews first.
Anytime somebody's like forceful like that, you know.
Yes.
Something's
I don't
gonna
like that
happen.
approach. I hate that approach. I never get suckered in on that crap.
My sister and I went to Paris. I was only 18 years old, and she was she's 4 years older than me, and there were high pressure people on the street, trying to get you into places,
Into these various places. Yeah.
One of them was live sex on stage. I kid you not, it was in the red light district, live sex on stage, and I go, dude, and this guy spoke English, and he thought, oh, you guys are Americans, wow. So he really started giving us the hard sell, and I go, dude, it's my sister. I'm not.
Yeah, no thanks.
Going to come on, man, you just come on in.
This is a good way to bond with your sister. You watch a 69 on stage. Or Swiss Nerf.
Las Ramblas in Barcelona is a little bit like that, where they're coaxing you into the different restaurants and stuff like that. But I ordered, if you go to a good restaurant or not, a place that's not going to scam you, I ordered a bottle of champagne, and the guy, the price wasn't on the menu, or, one of those. And
Be leery when there's no price that you can see written down.
But a lot of times they don't list the prices, and I had it before, and it wasn't like some astronomical bottle. But the guy came over and he said, I just want to let you know. This whatever version of what it was like $400. He said, so I just want to make sure you know what you're ordering. That's what a good restaurant's going to do. And that's when I was like, okay, no, thank you. I thought it was the regular bottle.
Did you go, did you look like I can? Do I look like I can't afford a $400 bottle of wine?
I must look like some sort of hooker.
No,
Casey.
I was like, you're right. I'm not paying $400 for a bottle of champagne.
Casey, when they brought out the $1,000 plus, did you say, how much without the buffalo sauce?
Well, here, going to Casey's story, Jessica has one similar. Hi, Jessica. Good morning.
Good morning. I just wanted to tell Casey, don't stress out, because I did the same thing. We went to Disney on Ice a couple of years ago, and we had 5 kids with us, and we were like, oh, can we get 5 orders of chicken tenders, 5 orders of French fries? And they brought back 5 chafing dishes of chicken tenders and French fries.
Oh my God.
And they gave me a bill for $1,600.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
I almost jumped out of the balcony.
But Jessica, let me ask you, were there enough people in that suite to finish even one of those orders of chicken fingers?
There was 7 of us.
Yeah.
And my oldest at the time was 7 years old. I had 4 little kids.
The fact that you listen,
same exact thing.
But I mean, is there a listing for an individual serving of chicken?
No,
no,
there's
but
a little paper menu on the thing, and it's there's no prices, and it's chicken tenders, French fries, fried shrimp, whatever.
So
I'm like, oh, let me get 5 orders. And at first they brought out 1 chafing dish of French fries and 1 of chicken nuggets. And I was like, well, that makes sense. For room, they just put it all in one big tray, whatever.
Right.
And then they came back 4 more times.
Oh, my
And I was
God.
like, what is going on? This is our, we paid $1,000 for this suite for Disney on Ice to begin with. And they were like, oh no, this is all you ordered. And I was like, oh, well, then we have a problem.
Yeah, we have a major problem. And that's why, like,
Like,
you
I
know,
don't
this
have
is the norm for them.
$1,700.
That's the thing. For these, you know, the servers, that's the norm. You know, so.
Well, they're used to providing food for a suite. However, if there's 7 people, like with Jessica's situation, and one of them is a kid, and you says, "Are you sure you want $250,000 chicken fingers?"
Yeah, you have to explain. This is an entire dish that you're
Chafing
ordering.
dish.
Do you like even with yours, Casey? They should have explained to you, like her saying, "Okay, let's start off with 1." Well, you didn't know what that meant. Like there should be. Hey, are you?
All right,
you
so
understand that there's
250,000 fingers and 51,000 French fries.
Jessica,
Like,
did you
fingers.
Jessica, did you get the money thing worked out with them?
I cried and cried and cried and cried, and they like took 4 of them off because we didn't touch them, and I refused to touch them. But it was still like $200 in chicken nuggets and French fries.
oh my god.
4 little kids.
Especially when
4
you
little kids.
you went the extra mile to get the thing and take the kids to see Disney on Ice, which I'm sure you were riveted by.
You get a week's worth of chicken fingers to take home with you.
Right.
But like the thing is, you also you feel like an idiot. You know what I mean? Like
You do.
How did
You
I
feel
not
embarrassed.
know?
Yeah.
You feel embarrassed.
Yeah.
You feel like, and listen, all the time there, like whenever I encounter the people, the wait staff, they're awesome. Like
Right.
they'll hook you up and they'll take care of you. But there should be perhaps a little bit better delineation between an individual, if they even offer an individual size,
Thanks, Jessica.
and a chafing dish.
So I had something similar, and I don't want to say like where I was, but you know, I went in to have a service done, and I was expecting one price, right? So I went in, and so I ended up getting quoted this price that was basically 3 times as much as I had anticipated.
Right.
And I was so embarrassed that I couldn't pay it.
Yeah.
That I was like, okay, well, hang on to, and so they still have my stuff.
I will use my mouth on you.
But I was like, okay, all
Did
right.
they do the service?
So there were 3 things that I needed serviced. I asked for them to service the cheapest one of the 3. I go, okay, hang on to everything, and then when I come back and pick this up, I will.
Why don't you just go get it and say no thanks?
Well, so I ended up sending an email to somebody else, because I dealt with somebody online. The person that I dealt with at the store was different. So then when I went home, I finally got the balls to go, I can't pay this. Like, I don't want, And so I emailed the person. I'm like, listen, this is what I thought was, and I was too embarrassed to say something and just walk away with my product.
You should have sent them a note like written in crayon. This is my house. I cannot afford this.
But I was and that's what it really boiled down to, was just me being too embarrassed to say, it's too
Do you think they were
expensive for me.
Do you think they were being predatory to you? Do you
No,
think they were,
no.
Okay, you just got confused.
I just got confused, and I didn't know, going into it.
Right.
The other problem is, like, when you want to find out how much something costs, like, the internet doesn't really help you with that sort of stuff. You're like, how much should this cost? And then the internet's like, well,
we don't know.
We don't know.
You know where this happens actually a lot is the nail salon. So I was sitting in a nail salon and I watched them. Do you want this new type of manicure? And the girl was like, okay, well, what is it? And there's a little bit of a language barrier. So they do their best to explain it to her. And she's like, all right, yeah, that sounds fine. Great. Comes with a little extra massage, whatever it was. And I was still there when she checked out, and it was a $200 manicure she got.
Whoa.
She goes, what do you mean $200? And they were like, well, we did whatever the nail polish was and this and that. And she was like, absolutely not. She goes, it took you the same amount of time to do my nails as if I were to get a regular manicure. If it was a 3-hour-long manicure and there was more time that went into it, but what
was their reaction?
She refused to pay it. She said, I am not paying this. She said, you can call the cops. You can do what you want. I am not paying you for this. And they did eventually just charge her what she would have normally paid when she, went in there on a normal basis to get a regular manicure.
I also, I just got a text. I was reminded, same thing happened with dog grooming. And so
dog grooming's expensive.
Well, and I know
if you
that.
don't know that.
And I know that, and I know going in, but I'd gone in the last time, and my dogs were a little hairier, a little bit more matted.
Like their butt hair removed as well, please?
Steve, these guys charged me hundreds of dollars.
Really?
More than what I'm used to paying. They charged me a matting fee, and they just shaved it off anyway.
What was the final charge?
It was like Hun, can you text me and let me know? Because it was somewhere in the neighborhood of like somewhere between $300 to $500.
Oh, my
Wow.
God.
Wow.
That's ridiculous.
It was two dogs.
And they have big dogs.
Two big dogs.
Yeah.
And Reggie doesn't do well with the dryers.
Right.
He gets like really anxious. He's not nasty. But he's also 80 pounds.
Right.
So that's why I was kind of like, okay, it is what it is, and But I just, was like, but I was too embarrassed to go. I'm not paying this.
Right.
Yeah, that's way too much. And then and I don't know what it. When you just say it's a matting fee, but then you just shave over it anyway. I'm like, what's the difference if you're, there might be a big difference. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not
But
a dog
it seems
groomer.
very pricey. It seems extraordinary. I mean, even for the size of your dogs, that's ridiculous.
Here's a text says, went out in Amman, Jordan, one time and ended up with a $3,000 US dollar bill that I had to argue down to $1,500 in Arabic, surrounded by a bunch of Jordanian thugs. He said everything is negotiable in the Middle East. It was a gentleman's club, and we were paying for the, quote, the girls' time and their $50 drinks. We didn't even get an effing OTPHJ out of the three of us. And so they had to argue $3,000. Wow.
That's insane.
Hang on a second. There was, here's one that says, hey guys, everyone should know that if they're in a foreign country, unlike America, if there's bread or anything else on the table, when you sit down, you'll get charged for it.
Yeah.
That does happen. Yes, I have heard of that.
Yeah, and when
if it seems like it's complimentary because it's sitting out, you need to be aware that you might have.
And as they point out with this place that started this place that Mykonos, they actually there is a menu online with the prices that are nothing like what this mother and daughter were charged for 2 crab's legs and 2 mojitos.
Yeah. Hang on, I want to go to John. Hey, John. Good morning.
Hey guys, Gadzooks.
Gadzooks, what's up, buddy?
So quick story, similar to Casey, just being, not sure of something. My wife, it was her birthday. She's also about to give birth to our second boy. This was about 4 years ago. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to take you out to a jewelry store. You pick anything you want. Mm-hmm. And I am a man of modest means. My wife is a person of modest means.
Right.
And so we go to the jewelry store. The lady was super nice. She's like, oh, let's look at this, look at this. And my wife was like, I would like earrings. So she takes us to display case. I'm wearing like mesh shorts and a T-shirt. So, she takes us to the case. My wife puts it on. She looks great. My wife then goes, you know what? I really don't. I asked the lady. I was like, how much is it going to be? She was like $3 to $5. I was like, oh, okay. And then my wife's like, oh, I really don't feel too good. Let's just leave. So we walk out of the store and I go, Ray, are you okay? And she's like, those earrings she showed you? And I was like, yes. She was like, that was $3,000 to $5,000.
Yeah.
And she knows, my wife knows, and it's a similar thing that you guys were talking about, being in
93.3 WMMR.
All right, thank you very much, Marisa. So we were talking earlier in the entertainment report that Rob McElhenney is changing his last name. He's already filed legally to have it done, change it to Rob Mack. And he says the reason being is because the pronunciation is too difficult for, especially in some foreign countries. And he is doing more investing in, the world of professional football, meaning soccer.
Yeah.
And
all sorts of franchises.
And yeah, all kinds of business ventures. And, he's just afraid that it's too difficult to pronounce. And so he's changing it. And he's already got a character called Mac. So it's kind of is an easy segue for him. But it's the idea of going through and legally changing your name. It's a big decision.
It is, and he took into consideration the heritage and the rest of the family and what the story was. There's also an aspect of spelling the name properly. And if you're dealing with, like, I know, Nick, I've
gotten so many different spellings, so many different pronunciations my whole life. And my dad warned me and my brothers when we were growing up. And, my son gets it too. It's just, it's not that hard, but when you read it, it's hard. And people just, they just flub it all the time. I get McWilliams, McLuhan, McElwain. One time I got McAleen. Mr. McAleen.
Have you ever had a document or something that was submitted to you where literally the spelling would have to be correct and it was incorrect?
I mean, probably. You know what I get a lot, Steve, is that my last name is spelled MCIL. And when you capitalize IL in some fonts, it can look like MCLL.
That was the big thing for me. That's why you're in my contacts as Nick McWhat the F.
Yeah, and you can probably change that now. But MCIL or MCLL, if I'm flying or if Preston, earlier you mentioned like hotel reservations or something along those lines, like that can get screwed up because obviously on my credit cards and on my ID, it's MCIL.
Yeah, it looks odd when I've seen it in some fonts,
right?
Like the spelling of your name. So we wanted to open up the phones and see if anyone listening has changed your name before, and for what reason, and how difficult was that, and has it changed in anything for you? 610-660-9333 is the number.
Has it gotten easier?
And also who. McElhenney doesn't seem that hard for me to pronounce and looking at it, but there are some people that live with names that are, the bane of their existence, just because never, ever, ever do people ever get it right. And maybe it bothers you or you get used to it. Or for some people, it probably drives them crazy for their entire life.
Yeah.
Other people is just like, whatever.
It is what it is.
Rochelle, as far as first names go, she gets Rachel all the time.
Yeah.
And when people say Rachel, we just go, yeah.
Whatever.
If it's for a reservation or something like that, it's not worth taking the time to explain that you got the name wrong.
So it's what's crazy about that, because Rachel, Rochelle, like Andrea, those are all fairly simple. I have a friend who he is of Indian descent, and his name has so many syllables. But once I heard it, I was able to say it like that. And
what is it?
It's Ashok Paramaswaran. But like
Ashok Paramaswaran.
Yes, but I've talked to him about it and about like the Indian language. It just seems like it's almost lyrical. Do you know? That's why it was so easy to say.
Like sing-songy.
Yes.
Like Safe Flight Repair.
Safe Flight Replace. Yeah.
Casey, do Akbar's last name.
Gabajbi Amila.
Right.
Yeah.
Which how about Giannis?
But Antetokounmpo, it took me a long time to do that one.
Same.
So sometimes those really, really difficult names become very easy to say and actually fun to say.
You're right.
Fun to say.
Yeah, it's like San Francisco. Yeah, that is fun to say. So,
Francisco, that's fun to say.
But most people, especially like they're not going to take the time to do that and learn it. And it can be when you don't use your actual last name.
I have a stage name.
The decision was made in the beginning. Why?
I didn't like the rhyming nature of my first and last name.
Right.
I just didn't. It seemed kind of bouncy when you said it, and I just wanted something that had a little more bite to it. So, that's the only reason. And protection of my little bit of anonymity.
A little bit of anonymity, yeah.
As well, but now I don't care.
That's. Yeah, and so the only time it'll become an issue, you mentioned this, is if you're getting paid like for an appearance or something, and they put the wrong name on.
Yeah, or if you are going to pick up passes for an event or something like that,
right?
And you go to will call or parking or whatever it happens to be, and you tell them, and they're like, I give them one name, and they're like, no, it's not on here. I'm like, we'll try this name. And then I'm like throwing out names left and right, and they're like,
Andrea.
Why do they even believe me? It's Andrea, not Preston. It's pronounced Andrea.
Oh, we have it right here.
Hang on, I'm going to go to Kyle, who changed his name legally. Kyle, you are on the air. Good morning, bud.
Hey, what's up, guys? How are you?
Good, man. All right. So, what was the reason behind changing your name?
Yeah. So, not the best father figure.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So you're a Kyle Jr.?
Listen, no, I know somebody who specifically changed his name. He was named after his father. It was his first name, not a different scenario than you. But he was named after his father and had a complete falling out and changed his first name. And I already knew this guy as one name and then had to get used to him as the second name. Took a little bit of practice, but after a while, it was no problem at all. But you wanted to change your surname, your last name. You wanted to lose all affiliation. Yep. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, there was a whole thing with child support and all that while I was down in college. Caused a whole bunch of issues. So
gotcha.
I wound up going through the process because I was about to get married and I was about to have my daughter. And rather than give her my dead last name, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah.
Give her all that. I figured let's try and get it done early. And it was a process, man. You gotta it's a lot to go through. And
I would imagine
afterwards, there was a whole issue with. What was that?
I said I would imagine. I would think that with everything that's involved, with the way you are verified and your last name being such a prominent part of that, from beginning to end, how long did the process take?
Beginning to end, I think it was like right around 2-3 months by the time everything was all said and done, because you have to file in the newspaper and there needs to be court hearings and stuff. At least, the process where I was at. And they need to make sure, like, you don't have creditors who are, like, you're just trying to dip out on debts and all that.
Okay.
And you have to publish it in the newspaper, and then you still need to contact Social Security. So for, like, the next few years, my taxes were still under my old last name.
It's a funny thing, though, to find. I could see where the newspaper in days of yore would have been your best bet with getting the word out, but there a lot of people just don't read the newspaper anymore. But that's still a thing. They still make you post it in the newspaper.
Yeah. Yep. You need to send in a clipping and the receipt, essentially, that you've done it, and you need to do that twice. Once when you're starting the process, and then once after it's been ruled and complete.
It's funny because I know a couple of people, at least 2 or 3 people who changed their last name because of a very similar reason. The parent was. The father was
whatever,
bad, abusive, whatever, and did not want to forward that name and carry it on. And so I assume that whether it be your first or last name, is the first name quicker? I assume it would be because there's less legal issue with that. Or maybe I'm wrong.
So I think it's the same process either way.
All right.
Now, if you get married or something along those lines, or when you have your child, you can give them any name you want. But that association, I guess, when you're doing it for your own name without any kind of reason, it's this big, lengthy process.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
I wonder if people have done. Oh, sorry.
Thanks,
sorry.
Kyle. Appreciate it, man. Go ahead, Case.
I wonder if people have changed their last names to save the family name. And the reason I say that is my wife and her sister, they're the last of that line.
Right.
And so, I mean, would I be upset if, my son decided to change his last name to save that other name? That'd be kind of cool.
I knew a guy that changed his name to Jerry Callow.
No.
But they mistake it for Jerry Gallo, who was a whole other guy.
Dead.
And he died. I mean, how confusing is that?
This is wrong.
Yeah. No, but that's a good question, Casey, to carry on a family name. Like, I'm entering the last of the line for my family.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wonder. That's a unique scenario. Let me go to, I have other people calling in that have difficult last names or ones that they want to change for whatever reason. We're going to go to Timmy next. Hey, Timmy, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, what's up, Timmy?
Nothing. So I mentioned about my grandfather, Polish, Leszczynski, spelled Leszczynski.
Isn't that like the Smith of the Polish name? Don't they call that like the Smith of Poland?
Leszczynski, probably. But the nuns couldn't spell it. Apparently, maybe he couldn't in first grade either. So they just changed it to Leszczynski. My mother, on her birth certificate, has the shortened American name. Her Social Security has the long, with all the C's and the Z's. So, like, when it came time to collect Medicaid or whatever, she couldn't prove who she was.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that sucks.
2 different spellings.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you stop and think about it, I mean, years ago at Ellis Island, as depicted in The Godfather 2, he's Vito Antolini, but the guy can't pronounce it, so he just gives him his name, his last name of Corleone, the town he comes from.
Yeah, they also anglicized a lot of names back in the day like that. So hang on, Timmy, So your mom had to go through this to prove, to get her benefits that she was entitled to. How long and how difficult of a process was that?
She had to get her father's original name, proof of the changing, and she's got 4 siblings. The brothers, I'm sure they went through the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they had to do all this stuff to prove it.
Dude, that'd be a nightmare.
Right now.
Yeah, so, I mean, stop and think about
absolutely.
Just basic, like when you go to the DMV. Look, I was about to wait 6 hours to get my real license. Imagine you're doing this.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. All right, Tim, thanks for the
Check this
call.
out, real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick. So my father's last name, Zoccola, Zoccola. I can't say what it means in Italian. So look it up on Google.
Zappola.
I'm sure he got the name coming into Ellis Island, but it's one of the worst words you can say.
Hold on, spell that again.
You can say it.
Zebra.
Yeah. Oh, it means slut.
Zebra.
Zoccola, Zoccola.
Correct.
Yeah.
They say that what it really means is like the C word.
Okay.
I love it.
All right.
Thanks, man. I appreciate
so
it.
those are my last names. Have a good one, guys.
I should have gone with that for my air name, Preston Slut.
Yeah. or Preston C word.
Preston Whore.
Hey, you got the C word with you.
So Chuck D'Amico's name was initially supposed to be D'Amico, and then they took the apostrophe out when his grandfather came over.
But he is Chuck, right?
Well,
Charles?
he's Charles. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
yeah.
The Polish names, I always have a very difficult time seeing them written out. Anything in Welsh, forget about it, you know?
Yeah. By the way, I was wrong because the Polish Smith is Wisniewski, not what that other guy said. Because I have a friend whose last name, he's like, it's like basically like Smith
He
in
said
Poland.
Leszczynski?
Yeah, he said Leszczynski.
Right, okay. And what do you say is the...
Wisniewski.
Okay.
Is I don't know. That's what my friend
According
told me.
to your friend.
Yeah.
All right, so he's just saying it's a fairly common name. All right, we're going to go to John next. Hey, John, morning.
Hey, morning. How you guys doing?
Good. What's up, buddy?
Now my last name is Blemiger. I mean, it got changed to Ellis Island, so it's spelled B as in boy, L-I, M as in Mary, E-G-G-E-R.
Okay.
Blumegger.
Blumegger.
And I am the last of my line. Like, I'm the last male in my, if you Google that last name, I'm the only one. Anyone's related to me. So
you're saying you're...
I got to have a kid now.
Oh, so you're saying you're absolutely the last of the line. When you go, that's it.
That's it. I'm the last male that's able to have kids.
Yeah, and not only do you have to have a kid if you want to carry on the name, a male kid, unless now women can have men marry on and keep that name, but it's a similar situation with me. So, but have you?
I told my girl, I'm like, we got to keep trying.
With the last name, have you ever considered changing it, or you just do people mispronounce it all the time?
No, I've gotten everything from Bloomberger, hard R word, and I've gotten everything under the sun.
Yeah.
So I just tell people my name is John Blem.
John Blem.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, but so
just go with that.
So to the point of keeping it concise, pronounceable, that I can see. So Rob Mack makes sense from McElhenney. It's the same issue.
Yeah, we're going to go to Jessica. She changed her name 20 years ago. Hi, Jessica. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Great. What's up, Jessica?
So I changed my name 22 years ago, and they give you an official form with a raised seal, and you have to send it away, for a new passport. They send it back. You have to send it away, or you had to back in the day. Just for a new Social Security card, and it is being held together at the moment by hope. I don't know how. I don't know how I'm going to try and get a new one. I've been trying, and it's a whole legalese and lots of paperwork. So I'm getting married, and I'm deciding instead of trying to get a new name change for him, I'm just going to change my name again.
You're just going to change your name again when you get married?
Yep, I didn't want to, but it's easier.
So, can I ask why you wanted to change your name in the first place 22 years ago?
I got made fun of a lot for my last name, but now I have a great last name that has a lot of really cool, nicknames to it. So,
all right, can we find out what you went from and to, if you don't mind sharing?
I'll tell you, I went to Hoffman, which means people call me Hassel Hoffman and Hoffinator.
You were Hasselhoff?
That's better.
Wow. So yes. Oh my God.
That's how bad the old one was.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say something like Hitler, and I'm like, it's Hasselhoff.
Oh,
yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah, and I could see that. So, and did you say you are getting married, or that when you do get married? Okay. So, and what name will you be taking on?
Mitchell, which is great because everything is son of a Mitch. So I'm going to be a Mitch.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, I can.
Mitch with an M. Mitch with an M, I promise.
Okay, no, I got you. If you're talking about going back, your Social Security card is kind of that's it. Your Social Security card is supposed to be, and your passport, obviously, and birth certificate. But Social Security card is the one they say never to lose, and getting that changed, I'm sure, is a Herculean chore.
Mm-hmm. It's got to be. So we're talking about Rob McElhenney has changed his name to Rob Mack, and he's done it because of the pronunciation issue. So we're taking calls on changing your name, weird last names, and Sadie is on her third last name.
Wow.
Hi, Sadie. You're on the air. Good morning.
Rock and roll!
Rock and roll, baby. All right. What's up with you, Sadie?
So my mom was a single mom with me until she met my dad. So I started off with one name, and I'm not going to give all of my last names, but I started as an M for my last name. And then my dad adopted me at 10. So then I went to A, for my last initial. And then 16 years ago this October, I got married, and I was like, you know what? I might as well change my name again. So now I'm the end of the alphabet. I'm W. But because I had all those name changes, when I was 16, well, actually technically 15 and 10 months, and got my driver's license, for the first time, we had to prove all kinds of stuff at the DMV because of the name change. My mom had to bring my original birth certificate, my new birth certificate, the adoption records, their marriage certificate, all kinds of junk just to get my driver's license.
So are you like one of these people that we see at the DMV that literally has like a full file of paperwork?
It's crazy. And then when I got my passport, I was already married. When I got my passport, I had to show all the name changes. Thankfully, I didn't have to have the marriage certificate because my parents had since divorced after that.
Yeah. Wow.
I had to let them follow all of the name changes. But I have one more fun thing about my first name. So my first name is Sadie, and it's usually S-A-D-I-E, but no, not mine. Mine is two D's in it. So my whole life, people either call me Sadie or they spell it wrong.
Sadie. No, you don't want to get stuck with that.
Wait, so like since you changed your last name, did you ever consider just changing the spelling of your first name?
No, because I'm a very eclectic, unique.
Oh, we keep losing the signal. She's very eclectic and unique, so I guess she just likes the.
Yes.
Go ahead. Now we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. I am driving through LSD, aka Lower Slower Delaware. So so if you ever seen an LSD sticker, it's Lower Slower Delaware.
Right.
I'm on my way home. Well, not home. I'm on my way to work up in Bear, Delaware. I'm coming all the way down from Lincoln, Delaware, right now.
All right. Well, thank you for listening while you travel. But so you want to keep the spelling of your name because you're a unique individual?
Well, yeah, I love the spelling of my first name. There's very rarely any Sadies, and there's even more rare Sadies with Judies.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you, Sadie. We appreciate that. Or you'll always be Sadie to us. Next, we have RJ. Yo, RJ, good morning.
Hey, morning, guys. You guys rock.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. So you had to change your name?
So I had to change my name for work, not legally. I didn't really go through all the hoops and stuff. But my last name is Budenkevich, and I worked in a call center. And I had so many people ask me, hey, what did you just say? So for work, I changed it to RJ Brown when I was on the phone.
I'm sorry. Could you do me a favor and just repeat your name? It was a Budenkevich?
Budenkevich. Yeah, that was really good.
Oh, and
First
then
time. There you go.
I tried. And then Brown, was that a godsend when you shifted to that?
Oh, my God, yeah. And I know how to spell it really quick. So, it all worked out.
What's the origin of Budenkevich?
Polish.
There you go.
I've been told my whole life. A lot of people say German or ask if it's German, but no, Polish.
Okay.
They say it's the Polish Lefshinsky. So.
All right, thanks, RJ. Let's see. We have next Evan. Hi, Evan. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning to see you, Evan. All right, you had the opposite here. A name got changed to something more difficult, right?
Yeah, so when we got married, my wife went from something extremely straightforward to she's going to have to correct somebody every single time they see it. There's no way to pronounce it correctly. It's not a long name, but it's spelled Bucha.
Bucha.
But it's pronounced Buha.
Buha. Buha. Booyah. Wow.
Yeah, I got a lot of from Finding Nemo, Shark Buha, stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I think it took her probably like a month and a half to change everything, and she's still running into issues. Like, she couldn't deposit money into our account the other day because she needed me to sign off because it had her maiden name on it still.
Yeah, I've known couples where the wife just refused to take the daunting husband's name, and that just became something that was difficult. And didn't want to get stuck with that. So, but in this case, that's a tough one because I would never pronounce that name the way you pronounced it.
Oh, I don't even correct anybody anymore. It's been 31 years, and I whatever they say, I know who they're talking to.
Yeah, exactly. I know who you mean. All right, thanks, Evan. I wonder if Rob McElhenney changing his name to Rob Mack, and there was a comment from. Caitlin Olsen saying that the kids aren't happy about it. So I guess the whole family's names will change. I
Not
don't know.
necessarily, right? I mean, he's changing his name, but would that umbrella fall over the entire?
No, I think that they would have to change their names willingly. That just because he changes his name does not change her married name.
No. I'm not saying it will automatically change their names. I'm wondering if they will.
Yeah, I doubt
if they will go through the process to do that too.
Yeah, I bet they won't. But I don't know. But I mean, Rob obviously has family in our area still, and a brother and a sister, and I bet that they keep their last names. So I would think that just as far as the family goes, I don't know, but I would think as far as the family goes that they would probably all keep their last names as McElhenney.
Yeah, and if he says he's doing it for business expediency, then he's fine. That can continue with the shortened name, and everyone else can exist with the OG.
I want to go to Sam because Sam, it says here on my screen, took his wife's name when they got married. I'm curious as to why, so let's go there. Hi, Sam. You're on the air. Morning.
Hey, good morning, Ed.
Hey, good morning to see you, man. What's up?
So my last name used to be Alsbaugh, Alsbaugh.
Okay.
Nobody could say it. Nobody could spell it. I spent about 20 years of just saying, hi, my name's Sam, and just spelling my name.
Yep.
So I took my wife's last name, which was Hamilton. Way more easier.
And a great musical.
Way more easier. And presidential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw Allsbaugh on Broadway. It sucked.
So Sam, let me ask you this: in this decision and change, how long ago did you guys get married? By the way,
2015.
Okay, so 10 years ago, and it's settled in long enough. Was it a weird transition for friends and people that you've known and family members?
A little bit weird for family members, like my mom. She didn't really like it too much, but I was like, "Hey, man, I'm tired of this last name." I got the last name from a guy I never met. He left when I was like 2 months old.
Okay.
So it's nothing I was really ever attached to. I kind of hated the fact that I always had to spell it and say it and all that other good stuff. It made my life a little hard most of the time. So. Easy transition.
It really shouldn't be seen as that much of and I guess some people hold importance in certain things more than others, but I mean, really, somebody in a relationship is going to change their name, one person or the other. Usually that's going to happen. And somebody has to go through the change. And if the guy wants to change their name, I don't see it as a disrespect to the family or anything like that.
I think when you are getting married, you should have the ability to pick a random cousin and make them change their names.
All right.
Right? Just for the hell of it.
Why not?
Just to throw a monkey wrench into it. Yeah, listen, you have a name of somebody that has no connection to you, and you are having to spell this name that you don't want, and you found somebody that you love and you'd prefer to adopt their name. It makes sense to me. Yeah. And so life has been grand since you've been a Hamilton, correct?
Yeah, actually, it's been great, man. I don't have to ever spell my name or anything. Literally, people are like, wow, that's a great name.
There you go. There you go.
Sam Hamilton.
Yes, Sam Hamilton. It's how patriotic.
Sam Ham.
Yeah, Sam Ham.
Oh, that's perfect. So how difficult was it to go through the changing process?
It was actually quite easy. We did it when we get married. Literally just, a couple documents, got the Social Security card. The hardest part was at the current job I'm at, it's one of the utility companies. They flagged me for having a different last name when I did the background check. And it took literally 3 to 4 months of 10 years of W-2s I had to send them. I had to send them so many documents just to get through their background check. I was like, am I about to work for the FBI? Because that's what I feel like.
Yeah, they get real testy about that.
Yeah. All right, Sam Ham. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
So my Claire, my wife's name is Claire Malin. That's her maiden name. And she got Morrison, which is not that big of a leap.
Right.
Not bad at all.
Malin?
Malin, M-A-L-L-E-N, yeah.
All right, next is Amanda. Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning. Hey, bitches.
Hey, what? What's up, Amanda?
Hey. So my maiden name, this is crazy people's last names, time to shine. I'm so excited. So my last name was Usjishin. J-U, S is in Sam, Z is in zebra, C is in cat, Z is in Sam, S, Z is in zebra, what? N is in Nancy.
How many Z's?
No, I never got that right.
How many Z's did you have in your last name?
3.
And how many vowels?
1.
So
wow.
Repeat the pronunciation because that's a mother effer of a name. Repeat it.
Very proud of it. Usjishin.
Usjishin.
Wow.
It sounds like
so obviously, yeah.
It sounds like an electrician's apprentice.
Exactly, like someone like drunkenly slapped a keyboard.
But do you love it or hate it?
A little bit of both. I was a little bittersweet to get rid of it because, it is an identifier. People saw my name and went, what is that? And if you find any other Usjishin in this country, we are related. That is it. Like, there's no other names out here. But we were so excited. I forget how many years ago it was. We were watching a football game, and someone out in San Francisco, the 49ers, his last name is Usjic.
Yeah, Kyle.
And we're looking, like, the Leonardo DiCaprio meme where they're just staring at the TV like, that name.
By the way,
as soon as this guy became well known.
Amanda, a great nickname for you would be Uzi.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Did you get that one?
My college was Juice.
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 What's the derivation of that name?
Well, it is Ukrainian.
Okay.
We don't know the actual translation of it.
Yeah.
But as soon as this football player started becoming like really well known and, his wife got friends with Taylor Swift, all of a sudden people started getting our name right because they were hearing it in the news and it was so similar. We're like, yes, finally we're starting to get something. It wasn't perfect, but it was something.
Oh.
And Amanda, you changed it, you said?
I did. I felt bad, but I was like, you know what? My life is about to be so much easier. I felt bad. I danced out of the IRS office when it was finalized.
Did you go with something more common?
Way more common. It's Chamberlain.
Chamberlain.
Everybody has the last name Chamberlain. I could not make an email address to save my life.
Wow.
There you go, Chamberlain. All right. So there have been pros and cons, but it was a bittersweet departure.
Exactly.
All right.
All right. Well, that is definitely the most unique name I've heard so far.
Yeah,
All right,
well,
thank
by
you.
far.
Appreciate it.
So my friend from college, her last name had no vowels in it whatsoever, not even a Y.
Where do you even begin?
It was K-R-C-H. That was her last name. Kirk.
Okay.
K-R-C-H. Yeah. And do you know where what?
I have no clue.
Yeah. All right. Let me go. We have Tony. Tony, morning. You're on the air, bud.
Hey, good morning. How you doing, Preston?
Great, man. All right. What's this last name story you want to tell us?
All right, so real quick, my wife and I, we get married. We're young. I'm like 21. She's 20, 19. This is back in the day. Nobody told us you had to go to the Social Security office to change her last name. We go along throughout our life. She gets, driver's license, passport, everything under our married name of Connor. This goes on and on and on until we get Obamacare. Now, I don't know if you recall about Obamacare. They link your Social Security number to your health care to your taxes. So Obamacare comes in. We go to file our income taxes. And all of a sudden, they're telling me, you're committing fraud. You can't file your income taxes. And you got to jump through all these hoops, or you have to file out separate names. Okay, fine. So, after a minor heart attack, we go ahead and we change the name on the income tax form. This goes on for years, and I'm continually asking my wife, Donna, can you change your name? Can you change your name? Finally, about a year and a half ago, I get her. We go through the process. And we have to go down to the Social Security office, and we have to pull out these ancient documents. My marriage certificate looks like a piece of parchment that's about to fall apart. I have her, birth certificate, but we got a passport and a driver's license that doesn't match, and it's a whole thing. So as we're fighting our way through this with this very kind civil servant, she was a nice lady. We get all done. She's like, "Well, that's it." I guess after 38 years, she finally decided you were a keeper.
Yeah.
Nice. But it was just an oversight by you guys from the beginning, right?
Yeah. We were young.
Yeah.
It was never a thing. We got through the state and the federal government to get a passport.
Wow.
Not a problem.
Wow.
Every bank, everything was always the same last name. But, thanks to Obamacare, it all blew up.
Wow.
When you're young and in love, that's all you talk about is your Social Security card.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man. Wow. Well, it can be a legal batch of red tape that you have to go through when you're doing name changes, and especially if you've had some hiccups along the way. But thought it was kind of interesting. It's something I've never really had to think about or delve into. But Rob McElhenney changing his name legally to Rob Mack. He will be professionally and not just professionally, but legally known as Rob Mack.
And with all this success that he's already had under the McElhenney name,
I'm surprised.
Yeah, but he thinks that's the way to go forward.
So is it safe to say that he has become to known as Rob Mack?
He has become to known as Rob Mack now, officially. So, all right, well, listen, thank you for the calls, and I appreciate those who are on hold I didn't get a chance to go to. We do have to take a break, though, so we're going to do that very thing now. When we come back, we'll get to the bizarre file, and I'm going to reveal the latest big freaking deal for WMMR, which I think you'll appreciate. We'll be back in a moment. Stay right there.
Preston and Steve.
She knows that I would have been so embarrassed, I would have paid. I would have been like, here you go. Yep.
That's the worst when you listen and you're a hardworking person and you're there and you want to, and then when you have to really, and they do that on purpose a lot of times, they really hide the price and they make it small. So I'm just very over it. I want to see look at the price tag and say, this is what I'm looking for. You won't waste your time and you won't waste their time. But it is a little weird when you're like, whoa.
Oh, yeah, dude. And I remember in my earlier years of wandering into a higher fashion store or a higher-end jeweler, like a big name like Cartier or Tiffany, and starting to, shop for something Rochelle, and then they get to the price, and I'm like,
yeah, and you're like Steve Martin. The head turns.
Yeah, you have to try to play off the
that's Gene Wilder.
Stir crazy.
Yeah.
$1,000.
But it tests.
I gotta find that.
It tests your composure.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be embarrassed.
Oh my God! When I bought Claire's the engagement ring, and there's a place in New York called Fortunoff's, and I'm like,
this was pre-Steven Singer days.
Pre-Steven Singer.
Wait, Fortunoff's sold diamonds? I thought it was like
it was actually in Long Island. It was known as the jewelry store. This is if only I had Steven Singer at the time.
Wait, no, wait. No, sit.
I was sweating bullets because you're just getting started and you want to make sure that you also want to do something that she's going to like and at least be able to show her friends.
Yeah.
And I remember going in there and fortunately the person was very kind. Again, and we're not saying it just because it's, he's an advertiser, but it's the truth. It's the Steven Singer experience is a lot better. And they get this. They get that you're going to work within your budget, and that means all the difference in the world.
I remember asking a dentist because I had to get it had to have been a root canal or something like that. And I was like, well, so I was presented with options. And I was like, well, how much does a root canal cost?
It's going to be some money.
He wouldn't tell me.
What?
Wait, no, wait.
Somebody in that office knows how much a root canal costs. Can somebody please tell me how much this is going to cost so I know?
Honestly, and it's the truth, and I implore you, you are the customer. Do not feel bad. Whatever your means,
ask.
you're in there to give business to these people.
Yeah, you're entitled to that information.
You're entitled to that information.
Yep.
And if they seem secretive about it, leave.
Let me go to Chris. He wants to comment on the dental thing. Hey, Chris, good morning.
Yoo-hoo.
He just knew he prompted.
It's too early. I couldn't do it.
What's up, Chris?
First of all, I thought when I was on the phone I was dying because I heard an angel speaking to me, and I was like, "Oh, it's Marisa." I love Marisa. When she's on, it's an A+ show all the time.
Oh, there you go. We'll let Bill Weston know that.
Yeah.
All right, well, quit hitting on her and tell us your story, please.
Casey was saying about the dental. Yeah, be careful because these smaller offices are being bought out by larger ones and are pushing stuff out. My friend went to one and they tried pushing all this stuff on her and she's like, I don't even need it. Like
Zoom whitening and stuff like that, or
tongue whitening.
And then years ago, somebody went in for a procedure and they came out. They got 10 teeth taken out. And none of them were needed because they're
that's not a good dentist.
Money.
Yeah, I would call that a poor dentist.
Bottom line, you go into the dentist and they remove 10 teeth that they don't have to take out. That's not a good dentist.
While you're here for the cleaning, what about I remove all your teeth?
Yeah.
It's
we have
easy
audio of a guy who just got that done.
Wait, no, wait.
Well, they're going to make the case that cleaning them is easier when you can take them out and put them in a washing machine.
Anybody think about that?
My friend had a medical procedure done, and they were telling her your insurance is likely not going to cover all of it. And she was like, okay, well, we're not going in. Like, you're not putting me under. We're going in for this until I know around how much. And she said they could not, or they wouldn't give her a price. And she was like, we're not doing this till you give me a price.
Yeah. All right. Let me go to Mike. He had an interesting situation one time. Hey, Mike, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
I was in Lauderdale with my wife on vacation, and we were at a resort that had a golf course attached to it. I wanted a cigar. So I go into the pro shop, and they have this nice selection of cigars. I go, oh, let me grab this one. It was like a Davidoff Robusto. I clip the end, walk to the register, and the woman says, that'll be $65. My wife looks at me and goes, you better enjoy that cigar, man.
And you were committed. You had to buy it. You had no choice.
I was so committed, man. I had all but lit it. I mean, the end was clipped, and I'm just looking at it like.
Look,
once you've done that, you bought it.
Mike was going to ask for a roach clip for that thing. He can smoke it all the way down.
I put it in my cheek and gum to get it all.
Dude.
Thanks, Mike.
That's crazy.
Oh, my God. All right.
My sister-in-law is from Greece, and so she texted me, and she said, I still will never understand why Americans go to that side of Greece. She said, it's all like this.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so, there needs to be like an insider tourist information hub to tell you to avoid that type of thing. Wow. It's a big-time scam. All right. Well, listen, thanks for your calls. We appreciate it. We do need to take a break. I would like to, because we've got Tony Danza coming up, I would like to give away, do me a favor, Chris on line one, have him hang on. Chris was on hold for a long time. I didn't get to go to him and see if he wants some tickets to go to see the Bob's Burgers movie. And I'll take 2 other callers as well. It's a screening tomorrow night at UA King of Prussia, 7 o'clock. 215-263. WMMR from 20th Century Pictures. The Bob's Burgers movie hits theaters May 27th. So we'll give away the last of our passes now. We're going to take a break, come back in a second. Don't forget Tattoo Day today, so text word tattoo 39333. Might win a Preston and Steve themed tattoo from Floating World Tattoo and Piercing. We'll be right back.
Preston and Steve on 93.3 WMMR.
We only get to do this once a year, people.
Coming up a little later on this morning, we are going to talk to Jeopardy champion, current champion, Ryan Long, who's from the area.
Doing Philly proud?
Yep, he's from Mount Airy, so born in Philly and moved to Bensalem at the age of 9. We know a little bit about him, but we're going to find out more when we talk to him around 9 o'clock.
Oh, he's from Bucks County. He's so smart.
He's so smart,
Yeah, I
so
figured.
intelligent. So
He's not from Bucks County. He's from Philadelphia.
But he moved there at
Kinda like how
9
you're
where he
not
got
from
his
Bucks County.
education.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll have this
Well, have
little
him tell
debate
us,
with
yeah.
him later on this morning. But in the meantime, I saw this article. I thought it was very interesting, and it was essentially a forum. People had shared their stories of rules that were put in place because of them.
Oh, okay. I like
So
this.
You did something, and whatever you did from there on, there was a rule. This is, you can't do that anymore. And I was picking my brain, and I know it's had to have happened to me. I know I've done something before with
You've
this.
caused a rule to be implemented.
I'm sure.
What-
Somewhere in school, but I can't remember what. But I
kind of think you probably did, but
maybe something will come to me. But I have some examples, and I would love to hear your stories if you had a similar incident take place. So I'll start with this one, where a person wrote in and said, "My brother and I got into a cattle prod sword fight at a farm store. We shocked the hell out of each other a few times, and now they have the cattle prods locked up." We were in our 30s when this happened.
Oh, my God.
So they made a rule at the store that you could no longer take out the cattle prods. Another one says, I put a croissant in one of those hotel conveyor toasters, and it soon became engulfed in flames and had to be extinguished. The next day at breakfast, there was a sign that said, "If you'd like your croissant toasted, please ask a staff member." So they put up a rule after that. Here's one, definitely that had some lasting power to it, I'm sure. This says, as a kindergartner, I once fell asleep in the bus. I was on the bus, and when I woke up, the bus was in the garage.
This happened.
I had to yell to get to someone to get me out. So to this day, every bus driver in my school district needs to walk to the back of the bus and check every seat before they park the bus.
This has been in the news a few times where they've had kids and the bus driver failed to do that. There was a kid sleeping in the back seat.
Yeah, I think that's pretty standard, though.
Yeah.
For bus
So
drivers.
this-
They're supposed to anyway.
This probably happened a long time ago.
right.
They made that rule. Here's another one. It says, in my high school history class, there were about 10 of us who were really close friends, and we take every opportunity to make your mom jokes. And a couple of months into class, the teacher made us sign a treaty promising to stop making fun of each other's moms. We signed
That's
it,
funny.
and then we started making fun of each other's dads right after. I like this one a lot, too. It says, a friend of mine in a military school found out the regulations never stated what color the bed sheets for a bed made for inspection had to be in. So this man went and bought Power Ranger sheets and made the perfect regulation bed. And I've never seen so many sergeants lose their cool but be unable to actually do anything since the regs were perfectly followed.
That's great.
Needless to say, the next year's regulations were updated to state that sheets must be plain white. So they absolutely changed the rule altogether at a military school. Let me go to Kenny. Hey, Kenny, good morning.
Rocky Road.
Rocky Road. Well done. Kenny, what's going on, man?
Hey, good morning, guys. So I used to work at Tower Records, open until midnight. And we were basically allowed to play any tunes we wanted on the stereo. And I was a practical joker, and I decided that Animal by Wasp was a great idea.
All right.
To play through the entire store. And if you know the the song. It's not a good idea. So the manager was right there, came out screaming, and he said, now here's a short stack of CDs you guys can only listen to. And no, nothing good there.
So he took this broad policy and you caused it to be refined down to a selection of sort of neutral music.
Yeah, a lot of Steely Dan in there.
Yeah, it's good, but it's not Wasp.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
Thanks,
hilarious.
Kenny. Yep. Rule changed because of you. Let me go. You guys will know this one. Let me go to Stoney. Hi, Stoney. Good morning.
Yeah.
Oh, my. Yeah. Wow. You sound like you hurt yourself on that one, Stoney. What's up, bud?
Yo, what's up, man? You guys know me. I'm the sled builder. I'm the one that almost killed Pierre.
Yes, from the Cardboard Classic.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
And because of that, you guys don't allow us to use fireworks. Not allowed to ride on the second floor.
Right.
Yeah. I also built the big wheel. Well, a buddy of mine built it. We're not allowed to roll down a hill anymore.
That's right.
You are the reason
Dude, that was
for
great.
a lot of roles.
Had to do a lot of refinements. And if you ask, is it a good idea? Just ask Mr. Peanut.
Yes. Yeah, so Stoney was the cause of rules being changed at the Cardboard Classic. Multiple rules being changed.
Multiple rules.
Yeah. Nice job, Stoney.
Wow.
All right, thanks, bud. We'll see you next
Thank
year.
you. Have a good one, guys.
You too.
I have one that's slightly embarrassing, and Steve, you'll have a field day with it. I had a job.
On 93.3 WMMR.
All right, thanks, Marissa. I'm going to give you some info here about big freaking deal, but first I'm going to do a couple of shout-outs. I got this one. It says, hey, guys, I already missed it, but yesterday, the 29th, I guess this was sent to me on the 30th, was Robin, a.k.a. Little Wing's birthday. Can you please give her a big, juicy shout-out from all of us and a YouTube, of course, if deemed necessary, and says, love Julie Jules, I mean jerk off, I mean hand job. So here's a shout-out. And that's for Robin or Little Wing's birthday. And then another one, this is from another YouTuber. It says, hey, I'd like to request a shout out from my friend Joe, a.k.a. Common from the YouTube community. Without going into details, his life has been throwing lemons at him left and right. He works as a landscaper, even in this wretched heat, and bends over backwards for his family and friends. I figured the loudest, wettest, juiciest Delco shout out would brighten his day and remind him that we are always here for each other. And that comes in from Shane Walsh. So here's a shout out for you, sir.
Oh, sorry to hear he's going through all that.
Hang in there, Common. We appreciate the love, man. All right, and I do want to mention this before we dive into the Bizarre File. We have a new big friggin' deal this week, and this is wonderful. You can get 2 single-day wristbands for the price of one for the Funplex in Mount Laurel, New Jersey.
Wow.
Get unlimited access to indoor and outdoor rides, the Splashplex Water Park, and 1 hour of bowling and a $5 arcade card with that single-day wristband. So you can get this exclusive offer while the supplies last at WMMR.com/deals. So that's one you want to take advantage of, especially if you got a good-sized family and you want to save a ton of money and get the kids somewhere that they are absolutely going to love. We've been to the Funplex before. It's a great place. So again, 2 single-day wristbands for the price of one for the Funplex in Mount Laurel. And again, WMMR.com/deals to take advantage of that and do it before they run out, because these are limited availabilities. All right, let's do the Bizarre File.
WMMR presents Preston and Steve's Bizarre File.
Brought to you by Neumann. Our YouTube live stream is powered by Neumann University. Looking for online bachelor's degree completion programs, doctorate programs, and graduate programs? You got to join the webinar. It's coming up on July 9th. There's more information at Neumann.edu. Here's a story from last week. I didn't get a chance to mention this. I'm sure you guys saw it, but if you didn't, I wanted to throw this into the Bizarre File. A tornado came through Largo, Florida last Wednesday, damaging multiple homes. And doorbell camera caught something incredible as the storm passed through. The powerful winds lifted an L-shaped house, stood on its end, and then set it back down again. Stephanie Glenn told ABC News that her 76-year-old mother was inside the home when it was thrown into the air.
Oh, my God!
Stephanie said, I don't know how she survived. She got thrown around and beat up pretty bad.
What the hell?
Largo is about 20 miles west of Tampa on Florida's Gulf Coast, and the National Weather Service had determined that it was caused by an EF1 tornado. But it's crazy to see this whole home come up off the ground and then lift back, set back down.
It almost looked like a game of Tetris.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. A bison in Yellowstone National Park appeared to stumble into the scalding water of Grand Prismatic Spring, causing its death as tourists looked on during the park's busiest season. Yeah. The bison fell into the hot spring at Midway Geyser Basin near Old Faithful early on Saturday. It's not entirely clear exactly how or why the animal ended up in the hot spring, said Michael Poland, who is the scientist in charge at Yellowstone.
Oh, dear God. Go back to the truck and get some barbecue sauce.
But after having seen video of the accident, Poland said that it looked like the bison just got too close, stumbled further into the water, and thrashed around before it fell into an even hotter part of Grand Prismatic, causing its death.
What an excruciating way to go.
Yeah, he said the bison died fairly quickly, and he dispelled rumors that the spring's water is highly acidic, causing the animal to burn. Most hot springs are actually neutral, Poland said, but the temperatures are so extreme that the bison most likely boiled to death.
Golly, Jesus.
Yeah. Grand Prismatic is about 300 feet wide. Its temperatures reach 192 degrees Fahrenheit, and boiling point at Yellowstone, because of its high altitude, is 200 degrees Fahrenheit. He said this bison carcass is basically sitting in a pool of nearly boiling water, and that boiling water will eat away at the organic material, the tissues, and eventually there will be just some bone left over. It's not the most uncommon of occurrences. Often animals will walk along the edges of hot springs. They can fall in because the crust surrounding the pool is thin and can break with enough weight.
At this point, would it be worth slicing up some potatoes and other stuff? And,
chuck a few things in there? Yeah, why
season
not?
to taste.
Yeah. A horrifying moment aboard a Disney Cruise Line ship turned into an unbelievable rescue at sea after a child fell overboard and then her father jumped in after her. The incident occurred as the Disney Dream was returning to Fort Lauderdale from a 4-night Bahamian sailing. The emergency code, and this is what they use, they call it Mr. MOB. They made an announcement over the ship's intercom, which signals an urgent response. So,
Mr. MOB, a kid's falling overboard.
So MOB stands for Man Overboard.
Yeah.
So Mr. MOB is what they say. A spokesperson said the crew aboard the Disney Dream swiftly rescued 2 guests from the water. And they said that we commend our crew members for their exceptional skills and prompt actions, which ensured the safe return of both guests to the ship within minutes. Social media posts from the cruisers described the rapid reaction from the crew members, who launched life preservers and deployed a rescue float within minutes. In a Facebook post, passenger Kevin Fertura said, a girl fell overboard from the 4th deck and her dad went in after her. Thankfully, the DCL cruise rescue team was on it immediately and both were saved.
So they were showing them, and they were treading water for about 20 minutes because they had to get things into the water to get them. And as the momentum of the ship was moving along, they became little dots. Wow. You know, so they were that far away, but they got them. It was amazing.
Passengers confirmed the rescue took place while the Disney Dream was cruising between the Bahamas and Florida, with the child reportedly falling from the deck. And like many major cruise operators, Disney ships are equipped with overboard detection systems designed to alert the ship's crew to such incidents in real time.
And have you guys watched that documentary on Netflix right now, Trainwreck?
I'm watching
Poop Cruise?
I'm watching it. Yeah, it's wild.
It's not long. It's only like 55 minutes.
Yeah. I started watching it late last night, and I was like, I can't finish this.
I didn't remember this story, but a cruise ship just died in the water in the Gulf of Mexico.
I've seen the trailer for it, and they sit there, and their systems don't work. They don't have electricity, and so there's just piss and poop all over the place in this thing.
That's why they never put that in the commercial.
A man in Texas is facing charges after police say he tagged an ice cream truck driver Tuesday because he believed the driver was acting suspiciously around children. Michael Valdez was arrested after allegedly punching the ice cream truck driver multiple times, stealing his phone, and threatening to shoot him. Valdez reportedly told officers that he believed the driver was acting suspiciously around children, claiming he saw the man take phones from kids and give them his phone number. The driver, however, told police the children were using their phones to pay for treats via Apple Pay and Cash App.
Yeah, listen, I can understand the guy might have been a little suspicious, but we live in a different time.
He also shared that he shares his number with customers so that they can call him to return to their neighborhood. After further investigation, police determined the ice cream truck operator had not engaged in any inappropriate or illegal behavior.
Oh, it included a D-pick.
Valdez, however, was charged with robbery and unlawful possession of a firearm. firearm.
Jesus, if I had had the number of my Mr. Softy driver, forget it.
Yeah, well, now you can.
Yeah.
That's what they do sometimes, yeah. All right, and then finally, in Scotland, feral seagulls are edging closer to killing a human, it has been claimed.
Other domestic seagulls?
In what is seen as the most alarming warning yet over the terrifying flying threats, a summit to deal with them is set to get off of the ground. Former Scottish Tory leader Douglas Ross, who previously called the debate on the issue, told Parliament humans risk being killed over the growing problem of kamikaze diving seagulls.
This is a real problem, people. The seagulls are going to kill us all.
The politician said the strength of the cross-party support in my debate should be all the SNP government needed to finally act before we see someone killed due to being attacked by a gull.
Oh, sounds like things have gotten really bad.
Adding fuel to the flames, Rachel Hamilton claimed aggressive seagulls had attacked 7 children in just 1 month in Eyemouth last year.
And then they took one of my French fries.
She went on to highlight how one girl had gashes to her scalp and blood running down her face after a dive bombing attack.
It's like a Hitchcock movie.
The MP added, aggressive seagull behavior continues to cause real concern amongst businesses, amongst tourists, amongst everybody that has anything to do with the harbor. And it's not just seasonal nuisance, it's a serious growing health risk. It's a safety risk, particularly for children and elderly patients.
Are you guys seeing an uptick in aggression on the Wildwood seagulls?
No.
I did have
Just
an
as
incident.
Scottish cousins?
No, I had an incident with seagulls on Saturday, though. The really, really big ones.
Right.
They were trying to get into a trash bag, and I wasn't having that.
Nuh-uh.
So the latest over the gulls comes after the people of Moray in Scotland were dive bombed by the birds. In one case, an elderly woman broke her leg during a gull swoop, but other ministers are urging that Brits need to hug a gull. Member of Parliament Jim Farrelly said a summit on tackling the scourge of demented seagulls should not demonize the pest. So they're having
Truth
some
is, if
issues.
you give them a little hug, they're actually very gentle lovers.
And that is what I have in the bizarre file for you for now. All right, let us take a break. We'll be back in just a moment. If you haven't heard, we have our Word of the Week prize. It's only 3 letters this week. And it's $250 to Nebraska Brazilian Steakhouse and the Iron Abbey. So we will give that. They have a big 4th of July celebration coming up. So we'll give that away on Thursday because we're off on Friday. Friday's 4th. So we'll take a break and we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Preston and Steve.
Or when I was 21 years old, my job was to drive around Enterprise cars, and I didn't have any money. And so there was a Mercedes dealership where I would drop off cars and pick up cars. And at that Mercedes dealership, they would offer up free breakfast for their customers. But I was also hungry in the morning, and so I would avail myself to the bagels and the coffee that they had out for their paying customers. And
where did the food go?
Well, I didn't take all of the food. I just took enough for me. No, not a lot. Shut up. Just a little bit every morning. But they eventually had to put up a sign that said bagels and coffee for Mercedes customers only. And I was like,
it didn't say Dear Nick.
That was that's for me. All right.
Well, here's
tracks.
a similar story to that. This says, I worked concessions at a ballpark that had an all-you-can-eat promo day where tickets were more expensive than usual, but concessions, excluding alcohol around the stadium, were free. So I worked that day, and of course it was chaos. And when the line started dying down later in the game, they started sending home some of the hourly employees, myself included. But I didn't go home. After I clocked out, I stayed in the stadium. Got some cheeseburgers, cheesesteaks, and a soda, then found an empty seat in the crowd for the last few innings. The next year, they had the same promo. New rule for staff. If you get sent home early, you actually have to leave the stadium. So it's similar to you, Nick.
But I understand his point.
Let me go to Steven. Hi, Steven. Good morning.
Chicken pot, chicken pot, chicken pot pie.
Thank you for the serenade. What's up, man?
So when I was a kid, me and my family used to belong to the Warminster Swim Club, and all the township folks used to cut through the swim club to get to their maintenance building quicker. So when I was 14, I was riding my bike through the swim club, and I got nailed by a van. Township supervisor was driving through.
And so then after that, what happened?
No more cutting through the parking lot.
No more cutting through the
well,
parking
you can
lot.
understand that clearly
Yes.
since you almost died.
Yeah, you took one for the team, for the walkers
Damn
and
it.
bike riders. Thank you, Steven. Appreciate it. Let's go to Will. Hey, Will, good morning.
Good morning. Sorry to bother you guys at work.
What's up, man?
So back in the ancient times of the mid 1990s, teachers had copy cards for their copiers at school, and they would sometimes send a couple students to go make copies for them. Well, I was one of the responsible ones, and they sent myself and one of my friends to go make copies. Well, one of my friends takes the copy card and decides to copy a magazine from his father's collection and send pictures around the entire school. And so after that, teachers were never allowed to give copy cards again to their students.
Wow.
Of course.
They killed
because you were working now in the porn industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, you can understand. Yeah.
Good times.
Thanks, Will.
I love those
appreciate
last second scrambles because I didn't realize that we had not a common like the Power Ranger bed sheets.
Right.
We should have specified.
Here's another example. It says in middle school, I would use Sharpie, permanent markers to, quote, tattoo myself. Other kids thought that it was cool, so I started charging $1 per drawing wherever they wanted. The principal found out, and after I refused to stop, she put a ban on Sharpies for the entire school. Even the teachers could not bring them in. And then this person writes, I'm a tattoo artist now.
Oh, my God.
Ended up making a career out of it. I will go to Holly. Good morning to you, Holly.
Good morning.
What's up, Holly?
How do you work?
Thank you.
Yeah, I was in middle school. I think I was like 12 or 13, and I decided I wanted Domino's pizza, so I ordered one, had it delivered to the cafeteria. Apparently, they never had a rule about that, but there was one after that.
You're like Spicoli. You got pizza delivered to school.
Yeah.
I did, Domino's, but I had to share it.
And so did they talk to you about it, or did they just issue a statement that said no more of this?
Well, they did. I had a principal that actually I loved. We got along great, and he had to vice principal, and he had to pull me aside and talk to me, and he said, "This is not like you, Holly. I can't believe you did this, but good one."
Yeah,
well,
all right.
That was that bad. You ordered a pizza. That's all.
Yeah. But they made a rule after that. So, all right, thanks. Here's a text that says,
You gotta buy a crappy pizza.
Says, according to my husband, a 2-beer at a time limit was installed and stated at the Fest House in Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, because of him and his buddies building beer cup pyramids on the table, dancing every dance with the Fest House dancers, and generally acting like drunken maniacs. Don't know if this is really true, he said, but apparently that happened.
2-beer limit.
Here's a similar one. This one says, in college, some friends and I used to go to a Mexican restaurant every Thursday and often on Saturdays for their $1 margaritas. As a group, we would go there a lot. And eventually, they put a new rule in. It was now $2 margaritas and no more than 4 margaritas per person.
Oh, bummer.
A lot. Well, so I wasn't responsible for it, but there used to be the thing at the Roy Rogers where the Fixins bar, and people would go and just make sandwiches. So there was one right near my college. And I think this is probably corporate wide, but people would go do that and not really buy anything.
Right.
And so they put up a sign at that salad bar, for patrons only, for paying customers only, because it was getting like Nick, like the Mercedes dealers.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go to Christine. Hi, Christine. Good morning.
Hey, bitches.
Hey, what? All right, Christine. What rule did they change because of you?
Well, you said porn industry, so this goes a little towards that. So when my friend and I were 17 years old, friend of the family was the penalty box official for the Flyers back in the old Spectrum. And we were waiting for him after the game. We were outside in the corridor outside the locker room. You could get really close to the players at that point. So the door swings open, and Brad McCrimmon and Kathy, let's just say they call him the Beast for a reason.
Wow.
Brad McCrimmon was standing there totally naked. So, of course, 17, I'm like, oh, my God. So ever since then, they changed the rule was that nobody could get down in that corridor by the locker room unless you were affiliated with the Flyers organization. And
or
now,
a 17-year-old girl.
At 17, and
Yeah.
now I'm in human resources, so there you go.
Oh, there you go.
Man.
So you're handling stories like that.
That's funny. And that was the moment they made the rule. Wow. All right. Thank you, Christine. Hope you're proud. We'll go to Frank next. Hi there, Frank.
Beating your head in with a hammer.
I was hammering in the morning.
All right. What's up, Frank?
I was a bartender, and a customer ordered a flaming shot. And I didn't tell the customer, hey, you need to blow fire out because we can't consume that. And so he goes.
We as human beings cannot consume fire.
No,
Okay.
Science has taught us that.
Yes.
So he goes to drink the shot, gets scared, cause fire, drops the shot. It breaks on the bar, and my bar engulfs in flames for a moment. And then, I had to take like a soda gun to spray it off.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so no more flaming shots at Texas Roadhouse, guys.
Oh,
There you
really?
go.
Nice.
There you go.
Nice.
A flaming Mo.
I don't know if it was you or the customer, but yep, absolutely. All right, some other examples. This one says, I got our human resources Dropbox taken away at work because HR threatened to not pay us if we missed a clock in or clock out. I printed out the law stating that what they were threatening was illegal, highlighted it, and put it in the HR box when no one was around. Our HR rep threw an unholy fit and tried to figure out who put the paper in her box. And from then on, everything had to be handed in personally instead of a box.
I can see that.
And they went on to say, in our defense, the phones didn't always work and the clock-in system was really unreliable. So that's why they had made that complaint. Another one says, I already did that one. My younger brother was always late to school and tardy every day. He eventually figured out that if you just skipped first period altogether and showed up to his second period, he was counted as being at school with no late penalty since he was at second period on time. And they had to change that the following year.
So the rule would accommodate just going to second period, and he would be listed as
present for the day.
As present for the day,
but with no tardy for the first class.
Right.
Okay, that's gaming the system.
Right.
Yep.
Need to adjust that.
Let's go next to him. We're taking calls on a rule that was made because of something you did, and I will go to Kenny next. Hey, Kenny. Good morning.
Hey, Kathy, it's Jay. I heard your mixtape, and I want to take you back.
Wait, do you know Jay, or did I say his name on the air?
You said his name on the air.
That's great. Very astute, Kenny. What's up, man? What'd you do?
So in middle school, like you get changed in the locker rooms for like gym class. It's the first time you're all excited to use deodorant and be like a man.
Right.
Well, we were we were in the back of the bus, and we decided some kid, I'm not going to say his name, but he brought a lighter, and we were making fireballs in our hands.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Shooting flamethrowers, and the next year our bus driver would not allow those deodorants in his bus, so I had to use stick.
Okay. You had to use a stick from there.
Yep. And it was only our bus driver. It wasn't the whole school. It was just our bus driver. He was just an old grouchy fool.
Oh, yeah. You didn't like you making fireballs on the bus.
Come on, dude. We're just making fireballs on a moving vehicle that is powered by gasoline.
That's funny.
Wow.
All right. Thanks, Kenny. Appreciate it. Here's a follow-up to our call earlier from Christine, who saw the Flyers players naked. This text says, I was dating Christine, and I was with her when that happened. I saw Brad McCrimmon's junk. So
hilarious.
they were a part of the whole thing. So, legitimizing.
So that was a well-known legend with him?
I don't know. I just said his name the beast.
Now it is.
So.
Yeah.
All right, here's another text that says, I made a fake penis out of clay in middle school, and I waved it around on the back of the bus and got caught. They had no more clay in art class because of my wiener.
Well, we are in the broadcast industry, and we have tons of fake penises around here. So
we got loads. Yeah. Let's go next to Justin. Hey, Justin, good morning.
Hey, good morning. You guys rock.
Thank you, sir. What's going on, Justin?
So back in high school, one summer, me and a buddy, hot day, went to a 7-Eleven, and they have the big 100-ounce mugs for soda. Well, the little deal was buy the mug, get a free soda. Well, we decided to fill it full of the slushie instead. So we fill it full of Slurpee, go to the register. She can't charge us because she doesn't have it because it's not listed as an actual drink as for the soda because we weren't supposed to fill it up. So we got the free 100-ounce Slurpee, went back the next day with the same mugs, and they plastered paper all over saying we couldn't fill it up with Slurpee anymore.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
You gamed the system for one day, though.
one day.
Yeah, I remember that. There was a big thing where remember the one where you could bring in your own receptacle?
Not your traffic on 93.3 WMMR.
All right, thank you very much, Marissa. So some storms made their way through the area last night. Nick and I both experienced something interesting, and Marissa's been reporting on it on our way to work. We take Schuylkill Expressway eastbound and then get off at the Belmont exit to make our way up to where the radio station is in Bala-Cynwyd. And so when you get off the exit, there's a train tracks that go over. You actually drive underneath them. As I got over the exit, I see lights flashing, and I'm like, okay, something's going on over here. I thought maybe some light flooding or something like that. But no, a tree was down. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know if it was the wind. It didn't seem crazy windy last night. But I guess part of the storm was having gusts of winds or maybe lightning struck or whatever. But anyway, this huge tree came down, completely blocked it off. It was
blocking
like I couldn't even see through the underpass at all.
Wow.
I think it was massive. So those storms, I didn't know they were going to get as crazy as they did last night. It wasn't as severe as the week before when we had like part of the building came off here in Bala. Yeah. But I don't know about you guys, but we had some house-shaking thunder last night.
Same. What we're doing as we progress with these storms, things have been weakened already. So I was hiking, the old Bells Mill Road, that trail there. The amount of trees, huge trees that have been coming down. Everything is weakened. The ground is weakened. Trees have been weakened because of the storms we've had up to now. Yeah. So, Preston, I don't doubt that probably came down. The wind kicked up a bit. It wasn't like that time where we had the power failure a week or two ago. I'm losing track of them now. There's such a conga line of crap going on. But, yeah, man, it's tough out there.
Well, with that and with these storms, I saw this article that was talking about the number of people that have been struck by lightning so far this year. And it's pretty wild, man. It's been happening a lot. At least 4 people were struck by lightning over 24 hours from June 19th and 20th. 15-year-old boy survived being struck by lightning in Central Park. Told you about that.
Yes,
that was on June 19th. The following day, 3 men experienced jolts in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. A 29-year-old Colorado man standing in the ocean in ankle-deep water was critically injured after a lightning strike. Bystander and lifeguards immediately started life-saving measures, but the victim was unresponsive when he was taken to the scene of the hospital. Later that afternoon, about 8 miles inland, 2 men on Venetian Bay Golf Course were jolted when lightning struck nearby, but neither of them were taken to the hospital.
Do you freak
apparently
out?
we are at the peak of lightning season across the U.S.
No doubt. Do you freak out when you're on? I mean, not freak out, but you're out on a golf course. You're the tallest thing around.
Oh, I have.
Yeah.
There was there have been times where I'm like, we need to leave now.
Yeah.
Like right now.
We got to go.
Let's get out of here. But a couple of last week, remember when the real, I think it was a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, whatever. But anyway, when those really bad storms came through, I wasn't getting freaked out. I wanted to finish playing our round of golf.
It's like Caddyshack.
I'm like, we got 2 holes.
This is the best round of my life.
But we kept going. But after we got in, like I told you, 3 minutes later, all hell broke loose.
Yeah.
Last night, the thunder kept me up quite a bit. It was so loud, and it felt like it was right outside the house. So I kept waking up because it was just seemed like the storm was really close. I don't normally get freaked out by lightning. I like it. I like seeing it. I've flown over it, and I like seeing it when it's out in the ocean or whatever. But last night, for the first time in that I can remember, I was standing at the window watching the storms roll through, and I thought for a moment, what would happen if a lightning strike happened right outside this window? Like, would I get...
Yeah.
Right? Would the glass shatter? Would I get thrown out? Would it kill me instantly? Like, and is there any warning? Like, is there any way to see that it might be coming?
You can feel it.
Well,
Can you run?
There are 4 different ways. There are 4 different types of lightning strikes. I'm going to get to that in a moment. But first, I wanted to ask you guys what you think what activity contributes to more lightning deaths than any other. If you were to guess, what would you say that it is?
I would say swimming.
Swimming, okay.
Camping.
All right.
I'm trying to think. That would be all right. So you guys came up with a couple of good ones. The most common. Give me a second here. Bear with me here. What would be the one that would be the most common? Where you, I'm okay, like camping. I'm going to go with Casey out in the woods.
It's fishing.
Fishing. Oh, because you're the highest thing on the...
Fishing contributes to more lightning deaths than any other activity. It's led to 2 lightning deaths so far this year.
Goddamn fish.
I think I had the list here, but I didn't print it up in this particular article. But golf, I believe, is 3rd. Or maybe 5th or somewhere in that range, but it contributes to about 3% of lightning deaths since 2006.
All right, so that's in human beings. Like, what kind of animals are being killed during a lightning strike?
I gotta assume otters.
Yeah, well, I mean, do fish die if a lightning strikes?
If an electrical shock goes through the water,
right?
Yeah, it would kill. I would say this, though. In both cases, you're talking about a golf course or you're talking about you're out on the water.
Yeah.
You're the highest thing.
Yeah.
So you're going to be the thing that's going to attract the lightning. And I've been out on the water a number of times during lightning storms. And, Nick, it is really cool to see it. It is amazing.
Yep. So according to this article, if you're going to be outside, it's important to remain alert for changing weather conditions. Now, here's what I found interesting. How do people get struck by lightning? There are 4 ways. There is the direct strike. The person becomes a part of the main discharge channel, usually when outside in an open area. There's something called the side flash. Lightning strikes a tall object and part of the current jumps from the object to the victim.
Yes.
For example, when a person is struck while standing under a tree.
Yeah.
And then there is ground current. Lightning enters the body at the point closest to the strike, travels through the body, and leaves at the contact point farthest away from the initial strike. And that apparently causes the most deaths and injuries, is the ground strike. And then there's one called conduction. And this is the cause of most indoor lightning deaths and injuries. Lightning travels through wires and other metal surfaces as well.
We've heard, and I don't know exactly how this would transpire, but you're in the shower, lightning strikes the house. Would the lightning be conducted, the electricity conducted through the water?
I don't know.
And possibly
I was always told to not shower.
To not
when,
shower,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not very clear on exactly how electricity operates and what it I know of things that are grounded and insulated and the absolute basics like that, but I don't know the natural instincts of electricity and where it wants to go.
So I have an elevated platform on my roof where I will break dance in my C-3PO costume.
Oh.
When I know a storm is coming, I just think it's probably best to go down to a lower floor.
The oddest thing I find about that is how, with your joints not being able to bend very far, how can you break dance?
That's the goal.
Okay.
That's what I'm going. I'm trying to break this cycle, Preston.
Nick brought this up. It said it was a factoid that says, yes, water can conduct electricity, but its ability to do so depends on the type of water. Pure water, distilled or deionized, is a poor conductor, while tap water and salt water are much better conductors due to the presence of dissolved ions in them.
So there was a footage of a lightning hit on a building that had a bar in it. The lightning conducted down pipes on the side of the bar, jumped to the bar rail, ran down the rail, and shot into the wall. But I mean,
that's pretty wild.
If people had been at that bar, by the bar was closed, you'd be looking at some tragic situations.
Yeah. Lightning is the closest I've ever been to a strike was, and I only know this because of the sound of it, because we were inside, but was we were in Maine on a lake, and a storm came through, so we're just hanging out inside playing cards, whatever, and we heard what sounded not like a lightning strike. It sounded like an explosion.
Yeah.
It was just bang, and I mean, so it was right there. There's no thunder.
Yeah.
This is where the sound starts that creates the thunder.
Okay.
And as it's, as thunder is bouncing off of all kinds of things, that's why it sounds as rumbly like it does. Yeah. But, I mean, that scared the hell out of us. I've never heard anything
You'll
quite
crap
like
yourself. There's footage of a tree. It's relatively new footage from a Ring doorbell camera.
Mm-hmm.
And, Preston, the tree is on the front yard. It gets hit by lightning, and it explodes.
Yep.
It explodes into kindling wood. So if you were in that house at that point, you would have heard what you talked about, an immediate explosion.
Hey, what time did that storm come rolling through last night that kept you guys up?
Like 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Well, it started around then, or you mean 2 a.m.?
Yeah.
Oh, because we had an afternoon one come by.
Yeah.
And then a little break, and then another one. It just kept going off and on all day for me yesterday. But
last night, because I don't recall.
Overnight? I don't know. I just, it was, I kept waking up because I heard rumbling throughout the night. Like it was going on for a while.
So I was saying to you guys before we came on this morning that my dog Kizzy is, she's gotten better with fireworks and so on and so forth. Excuse me, and thunder, but last night was loud enough to make her get nervous again.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a bitch.
My dog growing up, he hated thunder, lightning, obviously, but then fireworks as well. And he would instinctively go to the bathtub, and that's like whenever a storm came rolling through, that's where he was.
It's funny you should mention that because Kizzy goes down to, we have a bathroom in our mud room that the shower stall's right there, and she kind of moves up against that. I don't know what that's about, but yeah.
I have no idea if this is a joke or if it's legitimate, but somebody...
doesn't matter, we'll still report it.
To answer Casey's question, somebody texted in and said, giraffes are the most common animals struck by lightning. I don't know if it's a joke or not.
He's probably right.
No, it's accurate. Giraffes are more susceptible to lightning strikes than many other animals because of their height.
Yeah.
You remember that classic bit from maybe you don't remember it, Barney Fife talking about animals in the wild, and he's talking about giraffes running around getting hit by lightning.
Crying.
Well, he's trying. Opie has found this pack of dogs that he's worried about them, and he goes, "Oh, dogs look out for each other outside in a storm. They know what to do." He goes, "Giraffes now. Giraffes get hit by lightning all the time."
Here's another
stupid giraffes.
Another side fact to animals that have 4 legs are more susceptible to lightning strikes just because they have 4 legs on the ground and not 2 legs on the ground.
Yeah, more contact.
Exactly.
So giraffes are just losing on every level.
Yeah, more lightning can be conducted through the soil after a lightning strike.
Somebody also texted in and said this. There were, in the old days of copper pipes, it was a bad idea to be in the bathroom during a thunderstorm.
Now.
Most of it's PVC piping.
Yeah.
So maybe that's changed a little bit. I do not know.
Well, that's my C-3PO costume is PVC now.
Oh, it's smart. So, yeah.
It's not as shiny and as cool.
I know, but it's safer when I'm breakdancing in a lightning storm.
Wow. Somebody said, hey, my grandma almost got struck by lightning. We were on a family trip and trying to get her into a van, and we heard and saw it and pulled her in right before it hit.
Pushed her in front of the lightning bolt.
The story we still tell. That's from Mary from Huckesson.
So we did have an afternoon lightning storm pass through yesterday, Preston, and I went running out because the wind started to kick up to close the umbrellas outside.
Right.
And there was a close hit. And you think, okay, yes, lightning, I know what to do. I'll go inside, I'll be fine. But for a nanosecond, I'm like, I better speed this up.
Yep.
This text also says, and I think, Nick, they want you to know about, did you ever hear about that kid that made a baseball bat out of a tree that was struck by lightning?
Yeah.
His name was Roy Hobbs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Turned out to be the
that
greatest
guy.
baseball player, hitting a lot of home runs with that baseball bat.
That was a natural.
This bat sucks.
Wonder Boy.
Wonder Boy.
I always strike out.
What's with the lightning strike?
Yeah. So it was pretty intense. Like I stepped. Rochelle was watching TV in another room. I come walking. I'm like, did you feel the house literally shake from that?
I'm literally turning into like Rad Dad right now because every single time a rainstorm comes through, I'm like, oh, thank God the reservoir is going to be so full. I have been so worried about that reservoir.
The reservoir.
But this spring's been really wet. It's been down?
It's been good. It's been good.
Okay.
The spring wasn't as good.
We'll have good crops this year.
But like the last month or so has been really good. I mean, obviously, not for outdoor activities and stuff like that. But I'm telling you, the reservoir, you could see the reservoir floor. I was like, this is getting bad. There's going to be water war, guys.
Water war?
I'm more worried about lack of water.
You already have.
Yeah.
You've worked out a dystopian future in which you're purchasing water. It's going to be like Dune.
Yeah.
He's going to be saving his tears.
Your growing concerns crack me up, man. The stuff that you get.
You know what you do? Get one of
worried
those.
about. I love it.
Get a still suit.
A what?
A still suit. It's from Dune.
Yeah. Oh, it was okay.
Yeah, it's the thing you stick in the nose.
Yes. Okay, that's what that
You
is.
collect all your pee and feces.
You can be very cavalier about the reservoir then.
I forgot what I was going to say.
You were going to go to a caller.
No, there was something else I was going to say.
Is it about Water Wars?
No, it wasn't.
The new show coming to TLC?
You guys don't think that that's a possibility?
Oh, yeah.
Water Wars, of course.
I am just as obsessed, not just as. I am also fascinated by the Springton Lake Reservoir and the water levels. I've driven past it my entire life, and when it's low, it scares me.
Yeah.
It has for a long time.
And Nick,
I've never seen it this low.
Yeah, I'm an idiot.
Steve, when you would go down Gradyville Road, that's the other section.
Gradyville Road.
The other section of the reservoir, it was barren. I mean, like you could just walk in the lake bed. That's how dry it was.
Is that where all your drinking water comes from?
That's where most of it comes from,
That's
I
where
believe.
his toothbrushing water comes from.
Oh, okay. I just wasn't aware that, if we run out of the reservoir, that we're going to be fighting each other for water.
We'll be killing each other.
I
Every
guess
man
so.
for himself.
Hey, well, watch what happened on the poop cruise.
Right.
Yeah, I'm
On
telling you.
Netflix.
We can learn something from the poop cruise.
I remember what I was going to say. Actually, Steve, you mentioned something about the crops. When it was starting to rain, I'm like, oh, God, I don't have to water a garden. Thank God. Let me go to Eric, who has a lightning story. Eric, you're on the air. Good morning.
You guys rock.
Thank you for the love, brother. What's up?
So back in 1990, I was in basic training in Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and we were doing grenade training. Now, we used dummy grenades, which, if they went off in your hand, they'd probably hurt you. I don't know if they'd kill you or not, but they would definitely hurt you. So we're waiting our turn. We're sitting on an obstacle course and we're sitting on wooden bleachers, and not 50 feet away, they stacked all the rest of the extra practice grenades for everybody, and then there was like a wooden framed almost roof with like a metal type of sheet over it, like to stop, I guess, water or whatever.
Okay.
So anyway, we're sitting there. We are not 50 feet away, and lightning strikes the top of this roof.
Wow!
And I've never heard a sound as loud or seen a light as bright as I saw that day. Like, if I don't know how good you remember these movies, but Return of the Jedi, when they first fire the Death Star laser and it blows up that big ship,
right.
It makes this screeching metal sound. That is exactly what it sounds like. It's as if the sound designers were standing there with a microphone.
So the lightning hit the corrugated metal on the roof of this hut. Did it set off any of the dummy grenades?
That is the miracle. Not a grenade went off, not a flame, nothing. I mean, like maybe the roof might have gotten like a singe where the lightning hit it. I don't know.
Wow.
But there was no fire, nothing. And they immediately, it was just out of nowhere. It wasn't like we knew this storm was coming. This
Right.
storm just came in out of nowhere, and they cleared the obstacle course immediately.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Well, it's good advice,
they got
too,
away.
for storing your dummy grenades is keep them in a hut outside.
It was one of the scariest things I've ever seen in her.
You know,
Thanks, Eric.
it's weird, and we talk about that the lateral lightning, Preston, where you'll be, and there have been instances of it. Someone was killed a couple of years ago on a beach, sunny day, but there was a lightning storm like
miles away.
Yeah,
Yep.
and they got hit by lightning.
I'm going to go back to the Xfinity mobile request line. I have Joe, who is checking in with us. Joe, morning, man.
Yeah, Carson Daly's a tool.
Yes.
After all these years. All right, I actually have some Carson Daly news coming up in Music News
Very
later on
nice.
this morning. All right, what's up, man? What's your story?
Yeah, so last year we had a lightning strike our pool to about 15 feet behind our house. It's
Wow.
above ground pool. It was instantaneous, just like that last caller called in about. The lightning hits, the thunder and the lightning is at the exact same time. We heard the whoosh, we heard the smack of the water, and then it blew out 3 lights in our house. Like the whole house got instantly brighter for about 2 seconds. A couple bulbs shattered. Our back window and our back porch shattered, and my neighbor's kitchen window shattered.
That's pretty amazing. So, do you have was the pool the tallest thing in your yard?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an above ground pool, so 4 feet tall.
Oh, so 4 feet is not extraordinarily high, but so that proximity, that close to your house, blew out all those windows. Was your electrical system in your house effed up?
Yeah, 3 light bulbs actually shattered, literally shattered.
Wow.
Like, we heard the pop. And then my neighbor's kitchen window and my back porch window also shattered.
So that's the sound. It's got to be the impact of the percussion of the explosion shattering the glass, because I don't think it's electricity that would have done that, correct?
Not sure, because the lights went brighter for like a split moment. The lights went brighter, and then it popped. A couple bulbs popped. I think the windows might have been from the thunder, but not necessarily the light bulbs.
No, that's wild, man. It could have been a lot worse.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
How often do houses
get struck?
That's a good
question.
We have lightning rods, and we hope for the best. And I mean,
that's what I was looking for. Like, how do you harness lightning energy for electricity?
Like if you had a clock tower, for example.
Right, something like that.
Or perhaps if you had sewn a bunch of body parts together and were looking to reanimate.
It says a single lightning strike contains a significant amount of energy, enough to power a large number of homes for
1.21 gigawatts, actually.
Period, yeah.
Did you know men are much more likely to get struck than females?
Is it because they're dumber?
Because of our penises.
Yeah. No, we're just much stupider.
Stupider put ourselves outside the dumb situation.
Why are you dressed as C-3PO up on that platform? Leave me alone.
I'm breakdancing.
Woman.
I can do it.
Shut up, woman.
Preston says I can't do it because the joints are stiff. I'll show him.
Yeah, men are 4 times more likely than women to get struck by lightning.
Is that because we're...
Because of our penises.
No, taller?
It don't say in this quick facts thing.
It don't say?
No. CDC.
Nick, if you are laying down in an open field without trees and you have an erection,
right,
that will be the highest thing, right?
Steve,
I assume that's
true. However, you are discounting boobs.
You might.
Well... Yeah.
Well, it depends.
Yeah.
I know, yeah. Well, it also depends on the dude.
Yeah.
I think
a lot of variables there.
Ron Jeremy?
Well,
yeah. Well, he's a pig.
Yeah, he is. In fact, his stomach would be protruding more than his penis would be. But Peter North.
Then the blast zone would be.
Yeah, oh my
What's
God.
all this white stuff on the trees?
By the way, do you want some tips on where you can shelter if you're caught outside during a lightning storm? You want to choose the closest, large, enclosed space with plumbing and electrical wiring.
Why?
And dynamite.
I don't know, but that's what it says.
That seems to run contrary to what we've been hearing.
Don't shelter in unprotected open buildings such as metal sheds, picnic pavilions, baseball dugouts, and porches.
Don't do it in a metal shed. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are all these dummy hand grenades doing here?
If shelter isn't available, keep moving to search for a safe place. Don't lie down or crouch on the ground. Avoid trees, light poles, metal fences, and bleachers.
Okay, so I knew that. In fact, there was a situation where a bleacher was hit during a sporting event. This was years ago on Long Island, and a couple of people died.
And also, a fully enclosed car or truck can be an option of last resort, but don't touch the steering wheel, radio, or ignition.
Can you take the cigarette lighter and hold it to your tongue?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. I know it's going to do for you.
Always thought that, so you don't touch anything. We've heard conflicting reports on whether there is enough insulation in the tires of a car.
Yeah, it's not the tires; it's the metal frame of the car.
The metal frame of the car.
Yeah, because a lightning strike, if it is so powerful, Steve, it'll go right through. This is what I read anyway. The tire is not going to really provide any protection for you. The thin rubber layer of the tire is not nearly enough insulation. However, the metal frame of the car would provide some.
Would conduct and diffuse, right?
Away from you, away from your body. Yeah.
Hang on, our buddy Tucker is on the line, so let's go to him. Hey, Tucker. Good morning.
Gadzooks.
Gadzooks. What's up, bud?
In my previous life, when I could see, I was a construction foreman.
Huh.
And I watched my buddy get struck by lightning leaning up against a concrete truck.
Whoa. Okay.
He was leaning up against a concrete truck. The truck got hit by lightning. And what was his...
The truck got hit by lightning, and we were getting ready to pour tie beams, and I was actually standing between the truck and the pump, the cement pump, where most of it arced. And I moved away like just seconds ahead before that.
Whoa. All right, and what was the end result? What happened?
It knocked him on the ground. Everyone took off. I ran back, and I helped him up. And he said that his whole body was tingling.
And he
actually got up and helped us pour. And then the next day, he had blisters all up and down his arms and legs.
Wow. Dude, he dodged a massive bullet, no pun intended. I mean, that's the fact that he was that close and he just had a little bit of scarring. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and he was actually fine.
All right,
as fine as
wow.
he was before he got struck.
Well, maybe lightning's not such a bad thing then, Preston.
Hey, Tucker, before we let you go, I saw a post over the weekend about the greatest movie that blind people have, quote unquote, seen. And it was an interesting survey. And the number one overall answer was Casino, because the way that it sounds is really cool. The dialogue's incredible. Do you have a favorite movie that you've seen as a blind person, quote unquote, seen?
I don't think I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I do movies with audio description.
Okay.
There's nothing that, sticks out because I'm blind. I mean, I like movies like anybody else.
Quick question, Tucker. So you mentioned before you were blind. Did you have full eyesight? And what was it again?
I had 20/20.
And what robbed you of your eyesight? What was the condition?
Retinitis pigmentosa.
Okay. And
the retina on the back of the eye is losing its pigment.
And you're not. Are you fully blind? Can you see at all?
I can tell. My right eye can tell if it's dark or light now, but that's it.
Okay.
The left eye is completely gone.
All right.
Wow.
Well, you're a friend of the show, and you're still working as a masseuse?
Yes.
All right.
Excellent. All right, Tucker, great to hear from you as always. Appreciate it, bud. All right, we'll see you soon. All right, let me go to another friend. Craig Legons is joining us. Hey, Craig, you're on the air. Good morning, bud.
Good morning. Are we still talking about difficult last names?
We have since moved on, sir.
Okay. July 1st, 1994. I'm the thunderstorm, just like we had last night. It was after 11 o'clock, and I was watching Letterman. Thunder hit really close to me. I'm at the corner of 22nd and Spruce, and just boom. And the building shook. Car alarms went off. I looked out the window. I didn't see anything. I said, but that lightning hit something. But I'm looking. I don't see anything. So I go to bed. 5:45 a.m., my friend Marianne calls me. He said, oh, my God, Craig, are you okay? I said, yeah, I'm fine. Why? He said, there's a fire at 22nd and Spruce. And I look up. My entire apartment is orange. It's glowing orange. And I go to the window. I open it up. And the church across the street, the roof was on fire.
Stop
it. Yeah, and the whole thing was engulfed in flames, and the roof fell in on the church, and the heat just drove me back. There's a Trinity Church at 22nd and Spruce, and destroyed the whole roof and collapsed into the church, but the pews were untouched. But it all came from a single lightning strike.
One lightning strike hit it, set the whole roof on fire on the church, and obviously you have a lot of things on top of a church.
Yeah, I'm curious about if steeples get hit often.
You would imagine, right?
You know,
yeah, but I didn't see anything. That's the thing. I heard it. It shook the foundation of everything. But I looked out and I didn't see a thing. And it wasn't until 5 hours later that the whole thing went up like a tinderbox.
You know, you made me think, Craig, in talking about that and about like the steeples and so on and so forth. The Roxborough antennas that stake up.
Mm-hmm.
How often?
Yeah.
How often do they get hit by lightning?
You're talking things that are close to 1,000 feet tall.
And they're basically huge lightning rods.
Yeah. I don't know.
As you can imagine.
Find that out, Craig.
So, Casey, I want to ask you, who's Roy C. Sullivan? Can you tell the people who Roy C. Sullivan is?
Yeah, didn't he get struck by lightning like 4 times or something like that? 40 times?
7 times.
7 times.
7 times.
Yeah.
Holds the Guinness Book of World Records.
I remember that. He was a park ranger. I always saw a picture of his hat with the big burn mark in the middle of it.
He got hit by lightning so many times that he's dead.
Right. But there was that guy in that one documentary that got struck 66 times. You remember him?
They do say there are people who are biologically, genetically predisposed to attracting and getting hit by lightning.
Yeah.
There is something biochemically within their bodies that make them, doesn't mean that they're going to walk out and suddenly just out of the blue get hit by lightning, but statistically they're more likely to get hit.
So typically we see an increase in lightning fatalities from late June through August. So we are right in the middle.
Right in the pocket.
In the height of lightning. And they're calling for more scattered thunderstorms this afternoon. So keep that in mind.
Here?
I don't know.
We got to take shelter.
Keep that in mind.
And hoard the water because we're going to have water wars.
But I was not aware of the variety of different ways you can get struck and also the activities. I need to find the list of the activities. Nick, real quick,
Yeah,
I would like to find that out.
Yeah.
Because I told you fishing is number one.
Right.
Golf ranks in the top there. But it's top activities that that lightning strikes, or however you want to phrase that. Because I found it kind of unique.
The risk is higher of getting hit by lightning if you're doing these activities.
I remember what it was. The other one was a big one, is being at the beach.
Yes.
Is another big getting struck by lightning. And you hear sometimes that people in a clear blue sky getting struck on the beach usually.
Wherever you are the tallest, and also you have the umbrellas.
Yeah.
Fishing and camping, as you said, Casey, that was your guess earlier. Farming is another big one.
Again, you're out in a field.
Yeah. And boating, which would go along with fishing. And as I said, golf is another one, too. So
a lot of people will attach their boats to the top of their tractors, farmers, and fish. It's just the worst of all possible scenarios.
Construction is another one, and yard work as well.
How often do the high multi-level cranes, the multi-floor cranes, get hit by lightning? Well, we've talked about that, and to get out of one of those and descend can take a half hour.
I just learned today that I had been spelling lightning wrong, so that's good. I'm glad we had this conversation.
How do you spell it?
Well, I
With
spelled
a D.
I spelled the right way now, but I think I added an E and N.
Lightening?
Lightening.
Yeah.
Lightening.
That's not uncommon.
Yeah.
That's what you do to your teeth, right?
Lightening.
Lightening. Well, that's whitening, I guess. So,
Yeah, well, it's, if you're going to lighten something up, that's a word.
Yeah, lighten.
Yeah.
Lighten.
I'm lightening up with some lightning.
Yes.
Yeah. I illuminated this with lightning.
And it's thunder.
I am Thor, the god of thunder.
Look out for my lightning bolts.
Yes. All right. Well, anyhow, if you're out, be careful when the storms are making their way.
Grease lightning.
Oh, grease lightning. Grease lightening.
It's also a pregnancy term.
It is?
Yeah, lightening. A drop in the level of the uterus during the last weeks of pregnancy as the head of the fetus engages in the pelvis.
Lightning.
Grease the lightning.
Having a baby.
All right, learn stuff.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back in a moment. So we got more to come. Don't forget, we mentioned our new big friggin' deal, and it's happening now. It's not while supplies last. It's now through the 6th only. The Funplex, you can get 2 single-day wristbands for the price of 1. It's in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Don't miss out on this. You get unlimited access to all kinds of stuff. And you can go to WMMR.com/deals and get those. Kids are going to love it for you, or love you for it this summer. We'll be back in just a moment. Stay with us.
Preston and Steve on
Like once a year.
Right.
Yeah, where you can bring in your own.
Whatever you want.
But they sold him that one.
Yeah.
But it was just made for sodas. Here's another one that says, when I used to walk home from school, I had to walk next to the road to get to my house. And one day, I decided to see if I could walk with my eyes closed.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that's...
And as I walked, I didn't feel the transition from gravel to road, so unknowingly was walking on the road, and I heard a noise and looked behind me. A line of cars had formed, but none of the cars had honked, and I immediately ran off into an orchard, but later learned why nobody honked, because 2 weeks later, they put up signs that said deaf child area on both sides of the road. They thought I was deaf, so they didn't honk.
Oh, my God.
And so they put those.
So wait, that's another thing though. Do you ever try? I try to get around my house sometimes with my eyes closed.
Do you really?
Yeah, like I've tried it to see if I know how many steps
never do that.
to the door.
I've done it a few times just to see, because I wake up in relative darkness and I try not to turn the lights on to wake anybody else up, and I'm like, I wonder if I could
do that.
Walk from here to there without bumping into something. Yeah.
I'm usually not that successful. I'm good with the light switches. I know where they are.
It seems kind of goofy for you to do that.
I know.
Let me go to next to Carl. Hey, Carl, good morning.
Yoo-hoo!
All right, Carl, so they made a rule because of what?
So in high school, we were allowed to leave for lunch and get in our vehicles, go uptown, get whatever we wanted. My health teacher was betting that I couldn't make it to Delaware because that's where Taco Bell was, to Taco Bell and back before the period ended. So I jumped in my Mustang, hauled ass across the Delaware Bridge.
It's like Smokey and the Bandit.
That's basically
Steve.
it.
Yeah.
You're encouraging excessive driving, excessive speed.
That's where it comes into play because when I got back into town, I was worried about time, so I'm going 75 down Broadway, and the cops pull into the high school behind me as I'm carrying Taco Bell in.
Okay.
So, yeah, I was the last one to be able to leave.
Oh, so they made a rule you couldn't leave campus anymore.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you ruined it for everybody. I blame the teacher.
So do I.
I blame the teacher, Carl.
What's that?
I said I blame the teacher on that one.
Oh, he was awesome. I can't, I'm not going to...
All right.
All right. I bet you can't get there and back.
I wonder when because when I was in high school, they allowed us to leave campus at lunch as well. If you had a car,
right?
At some point that stopped, but we took advantage of that every day.
It was huge in my high school. I think, and then there was one part where of the year where a kid got hurt. And I think that's where I put the kibosh on it.
All right. Well, awesome examples. Thanks for your call. Think about that today. Talk amongst your friends. They made a rule because I did this. We got to take a break because we're going live on Fox Good Day
Yes,
today.
that's right.
Let's break and come back with that as well. The Bizarre File coming up too. Stay with us. We'll return shortly.
Well-made displays.
I think it was a Pokemon. Yeah. And this kid apparently knocked it over and broke it.
Like smashed it.
And what the guy didn't know, the dad didn't know, is it was like
$5,000.
Yeah, it was like this $7,000 thing. And sorry, you got to pay for it.
Yeah.
Now they went back and they ended up watching video, and the kid wasn't like playing around with it or something like that. He had
just knocked it
he had
over.
leaned on it or something along those lines, and so he knocked it over and it
But I would imagine like bigger stores, I don't know where they are, they have some sort of insurance that if something like that happens, you're not going to make the parent pay for $1,000 ceramic Pikachu.
I've heard stories of again,
I've seen
the old adage is you break it, you bought it.
Right, you break, you buy it. And I've seen that at like smaller stores, like especially if they sell glass items, like, especially down the shore, like some of those, little shops down there. If you take the kids in, you could see everybody tense up and like there's a little sign that says you break it, you buy it.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the owners, like if you walk in, and so we don't have kids, but when people come in with like small kids into places like that, like in New Hope.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
my words before I go in are don't touch anything.
Yeah. No, and I get nervous around stuff like that. If there's shelves with like hundreds of plates or just fragile things.
Yeah.
Like I purposely bring my arms in closer to my body as I walk along.
Likewise.
I try to shrink myself up as much as possible because I know I'm just going to knock something over.
some help, please? Yeah. Because you're terrible. Because you could walk. If you were to go, the way you normally go through, you knock over one thing, you're looking at $300 or $400.
I see Jace's eyes though, like I watch him and he's like, "Oh, mom," and what's this? And like he wants to touch it, so that's his way of being like, "Oh, what? I was just asking what it was. I wanted to see what it was. Put it
Don't touch it
down. Don't touch it.
Kill you.
It's $10,000."
So I definitely want to hear the you broke it, you bought it stories, 215-263-WMMR, whether it was you or your kid or whatever, because we've all had that happen.
So I don't know if she ever had to buy it. She might actually be listening right now. But I had a friend who was at a store, and there was in the middle of the store was a nail polish set up. And I think she tripped and fell, and she fell into the nail polish, and all of the nail polish shattered on the floor, broke. Wait, she pretended like she was passed out because she didn't want to get up.
Shut up.
She pretended like she was like knocked out.
Oh, that's great.
And so when they got her up,
that's
she was
great.
like, "Oh my God."
I'm pretending I passed out.
Yeah. She said it's the whole store smelled like nail polish. She didn't know what to do, and so like her friends like escorted her out, and she pretended like she was like super hurt. Meanwhile, they got into the car and they were like hysterical laughing.
Did she just say things like, "I hope the baby survives"?
Oh my God. What I was going to ask, and I've never done this myself, is if you've ever broken something and then try to like hide it on a shelf, underneath other things or shove it way in the back.
Oh, right.
But that's a much better story.
Yep.
You
Oh, my
pretend you're
God.
just pretend. That's good advice, though. If you break something, pretend you passed out.
By the way, a side subject from this, but whenever you see a movie or a TV show and somebody's walking through the store and there's an elaborate display of some kind of a pyramided...
You know what's going to happen.
You know what's happening, right?
It's like the guys in the movies who have large panes of glass that they're walking across the street with those suction things. You know it's going to happen.
All right, let me get some calls here. I'm going to go with Kyle. Hey, Kyle, good morning.
Hey, Mom, turn the radio down.
What's up, Kyle?
Hey, what's going on? So what if a guy threw a shoe at me? Good morning, guys. When I was a little kid, the local grocery store had like this big, huge display of tomato sauce. They had this like huge family-sized jar. And like any other kid, I'd get lost in the grocery store and wander around. And it was back in the day when your parents didn't care. They kind of hoped that one or two of you wandered off.
Right.
And I knocked over this. It had to have been gallons of pasta sauce into the aisle of the grocery store.
Man.
And these are glass containers?
Oh, yeah. And I'm 5, so I think I could just brush it aside and clean it up. Nobody will know. So I come back to find my mom holding broken pieces of glass with pasta sauce all over my hands.
Oh, man. Oh.
She must have thought you were bleeding out.
That's what she thought. She said, "Oh my God, what's blood? What's pasta sauce?" Like it was a horrifying experience.
Hey, Kyle, did they make your folks pay for it, or was there any sort of? Did they kick your ass out of the store? What happened?
I think they looked at our family funny after that because they knew we were the pasta people. But I'm not sure if they made her pay for it. But if they did, it was probably a couple $100 worth of stuff.
So that would be something where they made this, like Kathy, you talk about having insurance, and I think you're right. For the most part, insurance will cover a lot of this stuff. But also, what if it's something that that the store is made, or it's a one of a kind, or a display?
All right, I do have this story. It's a little bit off topic, but it does involve breaking something, and I had already paid for it. And this is me as a full-grown adult. I had gone to a liquor store, and I had bought a bottle of gin, okay?
Yeah.
And I was, why did I go back? And anyway, I think I had already paid for it, and I forgot something. I came back into the store, and I was in the back of the store, and I dropped it, and it just shatters. And I've already paid for it. And I'm like, you got to be good. Or maybe I went outside and dropped it. Anyhow, I dropped this, and I was like Bluto in Animal House.
Right,
when they dropped the booze, like, because I just paid for this bottle. And I bring it back in. I'm like, oh, my God, I'm so sorry. I'm like,
can you fix it?
Can you fix this? No, but what they told me, and I did not know, that with alcohol like that, as long as the seal on the cap was not broken, they could take it and give me another one.
Really?
So they did?
So they gave me another one. So as long as that seal was not broken, that proved that you didn't drink some out of it and go, oops, I dropped it and I need a new one. That they could give me
so
another
they didn't see you with the straw in the parking lot.
Right. I made a little hole.
I was at a store just this past weekend at the beach. It was kind of like Terrain, Kathy. Think about it, where it's like it has all these cute like knickknacks and bric-a-bracs and kitchen things. Plus, you can get lunch there. So while you order, you go and you shop around, and it's beautiful, like pottery and dishes. Everything is breakable.
Yeah.
And in the end, it's very tight aisles, and there's lots of things on the floor. So there's not just like things on tables, but this woman leaned in, and she must have kicked a stand that was set up under the table, and it just started shattering. But it wouldn't stop shattering. There was at least like 9 dishes that fell.
And those displays, once it's like that, they're going.
Here's the only thing I think she had going for it. It was definitely like all high school kids that were working there, and everyone was like, what to do? Oh, sorry.
Well,
enjoy
that's the
your
same
macaroons.
Thing. I get so nervous when I'm at Cracker Barrel and you're in that store part. And I remember one time, Preston, I knocked over a Mel Tillis CD and cracked the JUl case. And I was like, oh my God, this must be worth, I don't know, $1,
right? Oh, God. Here's a text that says, knocked over a saxophone off of a stand in a Sam Ash while test driving a bass guitar. Bent the horn into an oval shape upon impact. $2,700 later, guess what I own now?
Oh, my God. So what are the what are the parameters of the law or insurance coverage? What are they within their rights to exact from you if you are responsible for breaking something they deem? In other words, are they compelled to go? Is it like when you get into an accident and you decide, Kathy, like your situation, are we going to go through insurance or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can you do it outside of that?
I had the same question. What happens if you get in an accident when you're test driving a car?
That's a good question.
You bought
You dig it? You bought it?
I think you sign up for their insurance policy when you take
Yeah.
the car off the lot. Don't quote me on that, but I think like in order to do a test drive, you have to sign something that says you are somewhat culpable.
I promise
for it.
not to break
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to calls. You broke it, you bought it, 215-263 WMMR. I have Laura on the line. Hey, Laura, good morning.
Good morning. If
Hey.
I had a hammer,
I'd hammer in the morning.
I'd beat you with the hammer.
Then I'd flee town.
What's up, Laura?
so recently at a pet store in Harleysville, I won't
know which
name
one.
names.
I know
Yes.
which one. Go ahead.
Yes, we live very close to it, and I took my dog in there to buy dog food, thinking I would spend $30 or $40. And he peed on the entire display rack of handmade raincoats for dogs. And the lady was so pissed. Now, mind you, if it was like a bigger box store like PetSmart or something, like they probably would have been like, oh, you know, they have
Right.
cleanup stations. Have a great day. No, this lady was pissed. She gave me like the devil eyes, and she's like, well, now we can't sell them, blah, blah, blah. So they made me buy $50 dog rain jackets. So if anyone is in the market,
Now,
I have plenty of
a
sizes.
a rain jacket, all moisture
Right?
of any type should run right off of that.
Yeah.
And,
I know.
And by
I
the
felt
way,
so
how do
pressured.
you home make? What do you knit a rain? Do you ever
Well,
see
it's
like
probably
knitted raincoats?
It's hand sewn to fit a dog. I mean,
But I mean,
they're
it's-
probably not mass producing raincoats for dogs.
But I mean, as Preston points out, it's usually some sort of water repellent
It is.
material.
And that's why I was so pissed. Because I was like, just wipe it off. Just Clorox wipe the damn thing.
How many did
But
you have to
no.
buy, Laura?
3.
So you spent $150 on raincoats.
And also, you're bringing an animal into a store, and they know that from time to time,
They're
an
gonna
animal
pee.
might do something like that. You, as a human being, have very little control over that.
That's why-
So we had a long weekend this weekend. Marissa had an extra long weekend, and she was off on Friday and Monday. But that was for a reason. You had a really cool trip that you took, yeah?
I did, and it is a pain in the butt to get to Salt Lake City.
I
Matt,
saw the video. Your flight was canceled.
besides that,
Yeah.
besides the storms on Thursday night, canceled my flight. Matt invited me out to the 30th anniversary of the X Games.
Wow.
Which was out in Salt Lake City. But I learned that from Philly, there's only a couple flights a day. So if
Salt
I-
Lake City?
Yes, very surprising, right?
Yeah,
So
totally.
if I wanted to get there for the festivities in time, Thursday night was the best time to leave.
So explain for people who may be unaware, Matt's association with the X Games.
Yeah, so my husband, Matt Lindenmuth, Matt Lindy, people might know him as, was an inline vert competitor athlete from like 1995 until 2007 or 8 is when I figured they inline exited the X Games.
Right.
And so he was winter snowboarding vert and summer inline
And
for 20 years of his life.
and quite good, obviously, right?
Yeah, he's got a trick named after him. He was doing double backflips, which is like one of the things that I was realizing. First off, he sent me a text like, maybe this was 2 weeks ago, and he's like, hey, they started an alumni association. So the X Games hadn't been great at keeping the old athletes and bringing them into the games. Like we are used to watching football and baseball, and they always have the old guys in. And look, we've always seen the Tony Hawks and the Andy McDonalds, but there's such a huge pool of athletes out there. And so they just started an alumni association this year. And so they were bringing everyone back. And we were talking, and he's like, I'd love for you to meet my friends. And all of my friends are going to be there in one spot.
That's a great idea.
That's how this all
it's
came
so
together.
cool. Because they were showing, I guess this is what I was watching on ESPN. They had coverage of the competition because they were doing competition as well,
Yeah,
correct?
it was all weekend long between ABC, ESPN, Roku, and such like that.
Yeah,
and I was there.
amazing.
I was literally right there, like on the ramp, on the hills, like as it was happening. I kind of had this like rock star weekend hanging out with all these guys. So I would meet all of his friends. Like he's really good friends with this guy named Chad Kagi, who is a BMX guy, and we're sitting there talking, and then suddenly somebody comes over and is like, Chad, we need you for TV. And then we turn over, and like there he is doing commentating right there. And he was pointing out all these really cool things, like how the baseline for the athletes that are competing right now was these guys' hardest trick 20 years ago. Like when they were
Is he blown
born.
away? Is he like I watch some of these things. I'm like, how is that even physically possible?
It looks like gravity defying.
Yeah.
Casey, it finally hit me when there's this 10-year-old vert skateboarder named Emma. Emma did a run that had 3 900s. Now, do you guys remember watching Tony Hawk in 1999 pull off 1 900? And there's Tony Hawk on the side, just like there's 900, and there's something else. There's tail whip, another 900, and it's just like wow. Like Chad said on TV, like these guys are doing tricks that you can't even do in the video games yet.
Do you think, because we talk about this should be a main part of our, when we were Y100 and so on and so forth, early on, this is part of culture, Tony Hawk and all the games and Fairman's and BAM and all of this stuff, all the X games figured prominently in our culture.
Literally everybody that Matt introduced me to, he was like, hey, Travis Pastrana. Yeah, you were on her show recently, like in Philly. And everyone's like, yeah, of course, Preston and Steve. Yeah, Philly. Associations there.
Do you think that's coming back at all? Do you think to what it was, or is this its level for here on in?
I think so. There's actually some big changes coming to the X Games. They're going to turn it into a league. So they're going to have kind of like a league sport that is going to be skateboarding and BMX and something else, and they're kind of going to have teams. So they're going to try to change the way that you associate because So another athlete was explaining it, like you don't kind of go into the X Games and go, wow, like Japan won a whole bunch of awards.
Right.
It's kind of an individual sport, but everybody's friends.
You don't know what to attach to. So you're attaching to the individuals, and it makes it harder to get that enthusiasm.
Exactly. So if you don't know the individual off the bat, you're kind of just going in blindly to watching it.
I bet that would work.
There's a lot of sports that are that way.
With golf
and
is
boxing
similar,
and tennis and individual sports and so on. It's that kind of realm, but they're working on making it a team sport.
Yeah, it's launching next summer. They kind of rolled it out. So the CEO right now, he just started. It's Jeremy Bloom. If you guys remember him, he was an Eagle for a season.
Yeah.
He was a punt returner. His sister is Molly Bloom from Molly's Game. That Aaron Sorkin movie and that crazy story. So he's kind of coming in and bringing this new image to the X Games and kind of tying together the like older and the younger. Like when I went to the merch booth, I was like, wow, none of this merch is for me. It's definitely for younger people. But then walking around the fairgrounds, you see like all of these older, like dad, when I say older, my age dads, like with their like 2 and 3 year olds and young kids. I literally watched this kid walk in early on Friday morning, and it was just like a little Woodward setup where it was just like a little mini ramp, and this kid's face with watching somebody skate for the first time in person was just the sweetest moment ever.
Do you recall, Preston? Because it was we always enjoyed watching it. It was always cool and to see what they were doing, and even though if I didn't understand what was going on, I always thought that the competitions were cool. And it was always a lot of fun. I think I think it can have a second wind, so to speak.
Yeah. And so just like you guys, I always watched it from afar. I can't believe I never went when it was in Philadelphia.
Right.
I have no idea why. You guys were like all over it. You had all those guys in. They were here and you were covering it. That's when Matt did his first double backflip on skates. He did it here in Philly, his hometown, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And then... but like listening to it with those guys, like they're professionals. They're like, they're doing we're watching like BMX best trick. And I'm like, oh, look, he flipped over. And they're like, double, triple, whatever. Oh, he looked at, he overspun or all this. And they could just see that quickly. They could count how many rotations and everything.
Has Matt ever been approached to do color commentary? And
he did for a season when he was hurt. He had broken something and he couldn't participate. So they pulled him into the booth.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's also like the guys that have been doing it for all these years. We met his friend Jimmy Coleman is one of the guys, and Salima Masakala, I can't say his name. This is his last name, but he's been doing it for years too. So like they have the crew of people that do it as well.
That's great. It's awesome.
Nice.
But so cool. I mean, like, we're just standing there and like, there's Tony Hawk and like there's Travis Pastrana, and I'm just kind of like, wow, and they're just Matt's friends, and like it's such a different atmosphere too. Like there was a moment when I was kind of in this media, I had a media pass, because I'm media, and Tony Hawk is like in this pen, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go up and talk to him now, get him on the show, all this stuff, and as I'm about to talk to him, he just like and just like jumps over the gate. And then I noticed like that's such an X Games thing, which is like we're not used to in professional sports. Like if something is blocked off, you don't go there. Right. But in this atmosphere, you can go anywhere you want. We're standing there in another little pen during the BMX best trick, and this guy R. Willie, who's one of like the big guys now, he was doing his first triple backflip. And Travis Pastrana just got off a plane, landed, and there was another guy who was like super nervous, and there's Travis just jumps over the gate to go like hype this guy up in the background. So it's just like this cool vibe where it's just kind of like you can go anywhere, but you can't. It was cool.
Had you ever been to Salt Lake before or Utah?
Never.
What'd you think of that?
It was different than I expected. I kind of definitely rolled in with the preconceived notion of the like
Mormon culture,
a lot of drinking, no drinking,
right.
But I did learn, talking to somebody who's from there, was that after the Olympics, a lot of that got pulled back. Like bars are open later. You don't have to, pay a membership fee to go to a bar. They pulled back they used to not be able to show liquor in restaurants.
Yeah, they had a thing called the Zion curtain.
Yes.
Yeah, they had to make all the drinks and have the booze all behind, hidden, which is okay.
Did you get a chance to meet Matt's other wives while you're inside?
Right.
No, but I did.
Did you have fun though? Because
oh my God, Steve! Like literally, when we rolled in to get our credentials, the first person I see is Steve Van Doren, who's the guy who runs Vans now. The son of the creator, just the nicest guy. We were talking about
Vans?
Warped Tour. No, Casey, I was wearing Adidas.
Damn it!
I know, but it was cool, and we saw him later on, and he's just a dude that's just like filming his athletes as he's going.
What was the music like? Was it well represented with appropriate bands?
I jokingly said to Matt that I think the CD that you guys skated to years ago was stuck in the player because it was a lot of like Offspring and Rancid and Metallica and things like that. So I think that they on site were doing a good job to balance the age gap and because they're trying to build the audience. But
it's become a generational thing now. When it was in its early, when it's the time we became familiar with it, there were no veterans. Tony Hawk was revered, but he was still young. Yeah. Now you're having generations that have participated.
Yeah. Well, and then they had concerts on Friday and Saturday night. Friday night was Dead Mau. We didn't stay for that.
Yeah.
We did see one of the skaters, Elliot something, did a set, which was kind of cool. We saw some of that. But Saturday night was Sublime with Jacob. And man, is he so good.
Oh, yeah.
It's the original guys, Bud, and I can't think of the other guy's name in the band. And then Jacob, and Jacob has a couple of other friends. But, I mean, first off, they started, we walk in as the first song is starting, and it's Garden Grove. And I just like reverted back to being 15 years old and listening to Sublime. And he played all the hits, a couple of new songs. He has this beautiful energy. So if anybody has a chance to go see Sublime, I highly recommend it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
And then I do have to tell you guys, on Sunday night, in like one of these surreal rock starry moments, we just end up in a hotel room, and it's just kind of like a bunch of buddies hanging out, and it's like, let's go over. So it's Chad and it's Travis and Travis's wife Lindsay Pastrana, and this former BMX motocross girl Jolene, and then a tattoo guy named Big Island Mike. I don't know if you guys recall, there was an episode of South Park a whole bunch of years ago where the kids went to Hawaii. Well, Big Island Mike was represented in the South Park episode. And apparently he's been like part of X Games since the beginning. He was a BMX guy. He's been a judge all these years. He's tattooed like everybody from Lenny Kravitz to Britney Spears to Christina Aguilera, like all of these people. So there is everybody in the room, like literally like, hey, what do you guys want to get? I don't know. What do you guys want to get? And literally drawing tattoos in the moment and like getting them
on premises tattoos. Wow.
So Big Island Mike had a moment, free, and I kind of was like, "Hey, you wanna tattoo me?" And he's like, "Yeah, come on over." And he's got Rancid radio on. He's playing, and I was like, "Well, I'd love to get like a radio. Like, I think it's kind of my life, you know? It's appropriate." And we're kind of going over a couple of things, and I was like, "Well, Tim Armstrong from Rancid, you know." Draws radios, he paints radios, and we pull it up, and he's like, "Yeah, let's do it." And he's like, "Tim would love this," because of course he's tattooed Tim Armstrong too on top of this. Wow. So here you go, guys. You guys want to see my new tattoo? Yes. Yeah, here it is.
Marisa's taking her shirt off.
Whoa!
Wow, that's cool. It's a boombox.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, that's great.
So it's literally Tim Armstrong's painting boombox.
Yeah.
And it's on my arm forever. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Goes off to join the circus and comes back with a tattoo.
I know.
There you go.
So listen, Rancid is another band figures prominently in your life. So it's perfect. Sounds like a wonderful weekend.
And what a cool opportunity. I was just like, I can't pass this up. It was really cool.
Yeah.
But
where's the Preston and Steve in that tattoo?
I have a question about how you got to the places that you were going, because it looked like you guys had bikes. And so were those like rentals? Like, how did that all work out?
Matt had road tripped up from Denver and brought our bikes to Salt Lake City.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we had our bikes and we just rode over. We were staying about a mile away from the fairgrounds. So we would ride our bikes there every day and back, and it just made it easy to get around, got around to on the course and all. I mean, it's exactly what you think about. Everybody has their like skateboards and their scooters and they're just rolling around the space.
It's cool. It really is.
But I got into the athletes lounge and they were playing the new Tony Hawk, which comes out in July. So they were like testing it out there and getting haircuts and getting tattoos and everything. It was just wild. It was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
But the one thing I will say is what I learned from Matt. I say this to everybody listening right now. If you have a friend that you haven't talked to in a while, text them right now. Just say hi. Because that was a lot of Matt catching up with people he hadn't seen in 20 years, hadn't talked to in a year or 2 years.
You realize how important it is.
Yeah, and it's special, and you pick up right where you were, and just say hi. Just
I'm
reach
going to
out.
text Tony Hawk right now.
You really should.
Go ahead.
I have his assistant's information, so I've been talking to her.
All right.
So yeah, but some great people, great experience. I'm so happy I went, and it was just really cool.
And cool videos and pictures on Marisa's Instagram that you can check out of people on bikes flying over doing triple backflips and all that stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I know that Jolene gal. I saw her at the Nitro Circus.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
She was amazing.
Yeah. She's now a stunt person.
Okay.
So,
why not?
Yeah, she was telling us about a stunt she was flying to go film. Her partner is crashing a 18-wheeler and called her up and was like, "Can you crash the car behind me?" So, let us know when that stunt comes out, whatever that movie is. Yeah, same thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's cool that you guys had a good time.
Thank you. I was like such a geek. I'm like, oh my God, I got to go home with an X Games athlete.
That's right. And do dirty things with them.
Good for you.
Yeah.
All right. You can, like I said, you can check the pictures and videos, Marisa's Instagram account or Preston and Steve as well. And that's really special. She got
it is great. Yeah.
Tattoo video coming soon.
All right.
I wanted to bring up, so we have a little bit of time to play with.
All right.
So I wanted to bring up something I told Steve last week. This may not go anywhere, but I'm very curious about it.
I was intrigued by the concept.
So I was watching a show. It was Friends and Neighbors.
Yes.
That you suggested. I've only watched one episode so far, Steve. It's a John Hamm show. And I noticed something that I think that happens quite a bit in movies and shows. And I just think it's a bunch of malarkey. I think it's a bunch of garbage. I think it's made for movies and television, and I just can't see it ever really being the case. But I want people to prove me wrong if that is indeed. If there's any interest at all, you can text or you can call. But there's a scene where it's not John Hamm, but another character goes into the boss's office and he's talking to them. And as he's talking to them, he goes over behind his desk and sitting up against the window is a bar.
Right.
And he pours a drink of whiskey and sits there at work drinking whiskey.
Right.
Now, you see this in countless movies where and sometimes it's not even like the owner or anything like that. It's just like a high-level management position person has got a bar in their office. You want a drink here? I'm having it like Tony Stark does it. And there's a few different, through the MCU scenes where they're actually pouring cocktails while in the office. And I just don't. I'm talking about now. I'm talking about in this day and age because these are current shows. Yeah. Now, if you go back to Mad Men and stuff like that, sure, probably way different.
Perfect Strangers
in the late 60s and 70s. I can't believe now. This is speaking. This is a person that's speaking. Who has liquor in their office right now?
Right. There's liquor in the studio now.
I've got bottles of booze in my desk, but we get sent. We're a different kind of business.
Right.
I'm talking about executives who are in charge of other people.
And it's always in like some crystal.
It's in a decanter.
Yeah, okay.
So they got really expensive stuff and they pour it into a decanter to make it look really cool.
I bet you there are. I bet you if you're dealing like if you are in, for example, high-priced law firms or wherever there are big deals going down, I bet you that's something that occurs.
But what are the ramifications of?
Yeah,
you're there with a client, whatever. You guys have a couple of cocktails or whatever. You find out that things went sour in this deal that you were putting together. Can't you say, well, he was drinking?
Right.
He was actually drinking while we were putting this deal together.
Right.
I can't believe that HR lets that slide.
He was drinking bourbon.
For Christ's sake.
So
cask proof.
Yes.
I don't know. It's for some reason I believe that in some cases, and maybe that's because I'm so enamored of as a non-drinker, I'm so enamored of the concept of the pour you a drink, and let's talk about it.
I mean, they're doing it in succession, are they not? Like, don't they all
Is
have
that a constant as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
30 Rock, it happens all the time. Jack Donaghy, Alec Baldwin's character, has a bar that looks really damn cool in his office in 30 Rockefeller Center, and I'm jealous of it. I just don't know how realistic it is.
That's what I'm wondering. I just don't. I think it's cool, and I think it's a nice aesthetic, but I just don't see it practically being real.
If you have a bar in your office and you are perhaps a top-tier attorney or somebody who's a deal maker or wheeler dealer, then you have a bar that you use regularly.
Right.
Please let us know.
Yeah, 610-660-9333. You can text or call that number. Here's a text from somebody that says, I am a mobile mechanic, meaning I go to people's homes. The amount of times I'm offered alcohol a day is insane. 8 a.m. sharp. Want a water or a drink? Is it too early for a beer? All right, well, that's at someone's home. I can see that for sure. But here we go. Another one says, Law and Order shows it pouring a drink a lot, mostly after a case at the end of an episode.
Right, which is kind of a standard trope.
Here's another one that says, I had drinks at work in the past. I worked for a government organization that we won't talk about, and we had very little regulations. We always had scotch in our gym bags. No ramifications. I'm talking about now. I'm talking about currently day.
Now. So we can say this, Preston. It's not exactly the same thing, but after when we're doing the show, after a successful live read, we'll do a few lines.
Yeah, just a couple.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be a little more discreet with that.
Yeah.
You know?
And this is different than having a bottle of booze in your work bag, in your briefcase
the scene
or
is
whatever.
It's this. It's the tie gets loose and you say,
yeah.
Can I pour you a bourbon?
Absolutely.
I'm going to drink some of the honey that Preston got me from KK.
They always have an ice bucket too that has like fresh ice in it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but you're right.
Would you like a hooker?
It's always in a decanter, and it's during work hours. And
I just tend to think that I'm so removed from that level of success that I believe it happens.
Yeah,
especially that is. I would almost. The way the movies and these kind of things, these TV shows indicate, it's part of the process. You to show that you've made it.
Yeah.
I don't like what's the big law firm that client inspector that advertises all the time.
Right.
Locally. They have those commercials, and I don't know is when a big deal is settled or they get a victory in court. what comes out?
I don't know.
Is
The
it
overall-
the bourbon or is it Yoo-hoo for everyone?
The overall message is if you want to have success in life, baby, don't drink in the middle of the afternoon.
Casey, I didn't watch Suits, but somebody says they were always drinking in the office on that show.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Another one says, my boss probably has one and an evil cat that he strokes while he is tracking and spying on all of us.
No doubt. Blofeld. He had a mini bar.
Hang on. I'm going to go to Ashley. Hi, Ashley. Good morning.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good. What's up, Ashley?
So the engineering firm I worked at previously, the owners had an executive conference room that they had like a mini bar at, and they used to drink. And when they would have clients come in for potential projects, they would drink. And even like some employees had like liquor sitting on their desk, like bottles of whiskey and stuff like that.
Ashley, how recently was this?
Like I just stopped working there a couple months ago.
Okay, and so it's your understanding that as part of the thing, if they're having a business meeting or whatever, they'll offer a drink. It's part of the process, correct?
Yeah, just like in the middle of the day. It's not even like a nighttime thing. And sometimes they would like sit and drink like after, closer to the end of the workday.
See, we have a different dynamic here, Ashley. What we do is we offer the clients mini melts. Because we have a freezer full of that.
But you're only allowed one. It's a limit.
Only one.
Yeah. All right, thanks. Appreciate it, Ashley. Somebody says, our employee handbook says you can drink alcohol as long as it does not impede on your job.
Stop it.
I don't know.
Well, you know when to cut off, right?
I don't know if I believe that or not.
Do you remember when those .coms were popping up all over the place and they had like
the huge explosion?
Yes, but like the commissary, it was like show up, eat whatever you want out of the commissary, play some ping pong while you're at it, maybe get your job done.
You talk about the this how I start my day, those videos, that current thing that's going on.
Yeah.
You remember all the this is my day at work. I show up, I avail myself of the free granola bar, then I get a quick massage, then it's off to the and that actual work seems to take place between 11 and 1, and the rest of it is just perks.
Here's a text says, we have a full bar and a full beer fridge always stocked. Firm involved in large dollar sales transactions.
There you go. I think that's how you sort of prime the pump or stroke the kitten or pet the monkey or whatever you call it.
Preston, read this one.
It says, my father-in-law has one in his office. It's 3 glass decanters with, I believe, bourbon or scotch in them. My mother-in-law charters yachts for the rich and famous Christy Brinkley and Billy Joel when they were together. Princess Diana after the divorce.
Wow. Wow, that's some heavy-duty stuff.
Man, oh, man.
Would you like some Fresca?
Here's one that says, I went to Paul VI High School. The principal was Father Rock. He had a full bar in his office.
Stop it.
Would you like a juice box? When you've closed a multi-million-dollar yacht rental, you don't offer him a juice box, right? You want is a bourbon.
I guess so. Hang on a second. I have Aaron. Hi, Aaron. Good morning.
Good morning. So my husband, he works for a real estate firm, and it's very common they have a full bar and various alcohol. And in the closure room, they'll have, after the deal is made final, they'll all celebrate with the client as well and have drinks afterwards.
There you
so
go.
It's very common to have to indulge afterwards after a big sale.
After closing a deal. Got it.
It does happen.
And this
Yeah,
could
closing a deal.
this could occur midday, right?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, we bought a house ourselves and we got to indulge. So it definitely happens.
There you go. How about that? Yeah.
There you go.
I had a feeling. It does seem like it would just be like maybe that's a thing of the Mad Men time, that it wouldn't be something that's going on now, but it clearly is.
I have an anonymous caller on the line. Hi, anonymous. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Great. What's up, my man?
So, I used to build medical equipment, and I went to this facility to do a repair on a piece of the equipment that I build. And I'm sitting there, and it takes hours to test this equipment. We're going to be there half the night. And this guy walks up to me and goes, "Do you want a beer?" And I look at him kind of funny, and I'm like, he goes, "Don't sweat it. I'm the guy in charge of this facility. Do you want a beer?" I'm like, "Okay." He reaches in the fridge and pulls out a 6-pack of Guinness and hands me a Guinness. And me and basically the CEO of the site didn't have a couple of beers and test the machine that I was working on.
Hey, do you want some Ozempic or Skyrizi?
It's a pharmaceutical research company. If I said the name, you know who I was talking about, but prefer not to. But I was going, this guy comes up, he's like, you want a beer? I'm like, sure.
And this equipment were you working on, was it fairly vital, the test that you were doing?
Yeah. Do you know what an autoclave is?
It sounds familiar.
No, I don't.
You put dirty equipment in, and then you put non-sterile equipment in it, and it comes out sterile.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so pretty important.
Hospital gowns, surgical instruments.
Yeah.
So when you're in pharmaceutical research, you're talking test tubes and petri dishes and all kinds of nifty stuff.
I think that work is best done when you're hammered, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got it fixed and I got it up and running, but to test
I gotta go.
Hours.
Wow. All right. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
I had it set wrong. It makes it less sanitary.
Oh, it uses steam under pressure to kill harmful bacteria, viruses, fungi, and spores.
Autoclave. Yeah. So are we missing the mark, Preston? Do we need like some dark wood in the office with decanters right when we close a big live read deal?
Custom glasses and ice machine.
When we have a successful Hershey broadcast.
We'll throw a blender in there.
Right,
Start whipping up some frozen drinks.
Yeah. The thing I find interesting though is it the chore of someone to come in and make sure that there's fresh ice throughout the day?
Hey guys, you guys want a drink?
Yeah.
What's up? What do you?
I'll have a Mai Tai.
Hey, a little Mai Tai.
Mr. Sticky, would you like a bourbon?
Nail be in Mai Tai.
Rochelle got me a new hat, and I love it. And it's white with gold lettering and like gold leaf around it, like it almost looks like an admiral's hat. And it says Captain Cocktail on it.
Yeah.
That is my new favorite hat.
I think you wear that at a high-priced law firm.
Yeah.
I think you're going to get all the best clients.
You must salute Captain Cocktail.
That's right. Ooh, we need to come up.
Yes, I have a meeting with Captain Cocktail.
Yeah.
Yeah, the salute looks like this. In case he's holding a cup to your mouth, pantomiming, and then it comes up to a salute.
Captain Cocktail.
Perfect. I love it.
Reporting for duty.
All right, well, interesting. I got to believe it's a little more rare than we think, but I guess it happens. I guess people, that will. I just think with a corporation that's got where you got to mind your P's and Q's.
Listen, yes.
And you have to manage people.
It's probably a little more scrutinized, but it's still happening.
And if there's some indiscretions that take place and people can point to alcohol, that's only going to add fuel to the fire,
I'll just quickly add on, there is one movie trope that we know is accurate, is that radiation gives you superpowers.
Well, yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We know that will happen.
Yep. Marissa?
Did you guys see the story the Inquirer did last week about a lawyer that has a British pub?
Yes.
It's like a little speakeasy that he built. I just pulled up the story. His name is Adam Barrist. He's located in media. He said he has like an office, and then his office has a secret door, and behind the secret door is this little pub. And they kind of told this story about how one day there was a deposition happening. He opposing counsel, the meeting ended. They put a period on it. Then he invited everybody into the speakeasy. And from there, like the business kind of continued, and where they thought that this was going to go to court, they decided to settle. So it just kind of like it was like that post-conference meeting that happened there.
Why not? And in Preston, in this place, they'll actually block your cowboy hat, which is great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so you don't have to worry about that. Wow.
It looks cool, though. I want to go drink in there.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, well, anyhow, thank you for checking in, gang. We do appreciate it. Let's take a break, come back in a moment, and I will regale you with stories of the strange, and we'll get into the bizarre file in just a moment. Stay there.
Has the Fabergé eggs up on a higher shelf.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, that
so
sucks,
they
Laura.
They have since moved that display rack, by the way. I have been in there since. I thought I would never show my face there again, but I have.
You have to.
And they moved the display rack to a more higher up which they should have been in the first.
In the first place, yes, absolutely.
All right, thank
Enjoy
you,
the
Laura.
raincoats.
Yeah. Hope for rain.
Anyone's in the market for rain,
Get to use them. Let's go to Keith next. Hey, Keith, good morning.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, Bob, what's going on?
So it was like 1999 when those Dell computers came out that were all different colors.
Yes.
So, all right. And they were probably like $1,000 when they came out, right? Maybe.
Yeah. I put that about that price. Yeah, I think you're on the right path.
So we ride our bikes up to the Best Buy, look at video games, not even really look at them. And they're all on these shelves. My buddy is a moron and goes, wait, does the shelf pull out? So he tries to pull it out, and all these computers fall behind like two shelves and smash. There's also like CD players on there, like heavy stuff.
Of course.
Just smashes. All of them broke. So managers come over, they grab us up, and they're like, hey, man, like, where's your parents? We don't have any. We're orphans.
We're orphans.
And
I'm Batman.
They're like naming off prices, like it's the years. Like they're going, yeah, that's like 1977. That's so it's coming to like $8,000, which I thought I'd never see that money in my life. So we're like, all right, well, can we call our parents? And they're like, so you're orphans, whatever. So as we're walking to the office, my friend's just like, time to go. And we just dip, get on our bike. And, like, I've never been back to Deptford. So
You've never been back to Deptford.
Entire
just in
town
case.
behind you.
Even though you've grown up into an adult. So you guys just bolted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, that's probably why Best Buy's going out of business.
Probably what you did in 1999.
Oh, my God, Keith, I love that story. Oh, man. And listen, as a kid, you just panic, man. You just get out of there. I could totally see that.
Well, when parents have like ultra grabby kids, and you can see, they go into a store like that. You see the law being laid down and kids are just,
Yeah, just grabbing.
Yeah.
I feel like, or even fire alarms to kids. You know what I mean? If they can reach that, like stuff like that too.
Here's a text. Listen to this. It says, my 3-year-old thinks it's hilarious to grab candy bars off the shelf and take a bite with the wrapper on, forcing me to buy them every time. I guess that's a way to do it.
Yeah.
You can, if you want that candy bar, you definitely just take a bite. You're going to be buying it.
Can you do the same with like a Lamborghini? If you go to the dealership and just a bite, chew on the wind.
I'm guilty of like smushing the candy to see if it's fresh, and then putting that one back and getting another one.
Getting another fresh one?
What are you doing? How can you get a not fresh candy bar?
Or like a
Sometimes-
pastry?
Yeah, or like
She just digs her
Twizzlers.
fingers into the
Do
pastry.
you do the same with the produce, like apples, and take a little bite? Nah, this is good.
No, but I do tell myself that no matter what the apple is, like somebody else picked over that apple.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like, while I'm spending too much time trying to pick the right apple, I'm thinking like this apple was picked over by somebody else.
No, I don't know what you mean. Picked over.
Like somebody
passed up on it.
Passed up on it. Somebody
Okay.
else didn't take it home.
Wasn't a good one.
Yes,
So
and
it's
how
not
does
the
that how
best
does that
one.
make you feel?
Preston, you wanna unpack this right now?
I'm not understanding. So you're saying that all the good apples are taken already, and you're left with the dregs?
Yeah. I'm like the second best apples are left.
These are what if they just put them out and you've got to pick of the litter?
What if you just got there?
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Should never
You don't
thought of
know.
it that way.
Thanks. See,
This is
you
a
turned it
moral.
around.
This is a moral crisis you're going through now.
God, I need to talk to you guys more often.
Here's a text that says, Color Me Mine sends me into a cold sweat. I loudly lectured my 2 children during a very crowded holiday weekend not to touch anything. Then picked up one of the largest ceramics,
I'm not sure what that word is.
a Senkan cookie jar. Flipped it upside down to see the price, and the head flew off, bounced twice, and then shattered.
Wait, so the person did it, not the kid?
Yeah,
The adult.
I guess so, yeah.
To get it away from the kids.
Oh my God.
It wasn't so much
I love that.
the cost, but the audible gasps from all the other mothers there was the worst.
That space, Preston. It's like when you get kicked in the balls, and that time that it freezes in time for the pain. When something like glass, you drop it, it has the clink, clink, lifts up. for like a nanosecond, and then comes back down. It's always the second or third bounce on which it crashes. It's like, God damn it.
Here's a text that says, regarding you break it, you bought it. I'm a civil attorney. If a store puts something on display that they they take the risk that something may be broken, and there is no need to pay for it. You do not have to pay for anything that gets broken unless you do it intentionally.
Go take those raincoats back.
Take it back. Yeah. In fact, she takes them back. She should piss on them in front of so that's interesting.
That's what I mean. It's part of like the store insurance. It's like if somebody were to come into your store and get hurt, like you have, you know what I'm saying? You have insurance that's going to cover.
I think they're saying that by what this gentleman or woman is saying, it's because they have opted to put this out as a display. You are absolved, from anything having to do with that.
Yeah.
So you can't be compelled to pay for this then.
Yeah, I think that's the
even
right
if
thing.
your dog pissed on it.
This wasn't a you break it, you buy it thing, but maybe it was. Remember, we had a conversation about they made a rule because of me.
Oh, yeah.
Right. This says didn't break it, but I reached out and pushed the Liberty Bell when I was 6, and the whole thing swung on its mount.
Oh my God!
Holy Jesus!
Not sure that they would let me take it home if I broke it though.
Well, it's already broken.
Like when they ceremonially ring that bell, they take a little soft mallet and just touch it to it. Like they don't actually hit it and ring it.
Yeah.
So the fact that this guy reached out and pushed it and it swung, they had to have freaked out when that happened. And then they went to a cave in Hawaii.
Yes, and then Vincent Price.
By the way, Casey's not here today. In case you hear some mystery sounds, Marisa is doing her damnedest, doing her best to wrangle the sound effects. So,
Jace didn't break anything, but he loves cars and he loves exotic cars. And so we saw a Lamborghini parked in front of a hotel, and he's like, "Mom, can I go look at the headlights?" He's obsessed with the front of the cars and the headlights. I said, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." And so he walks over, he's like, inspecting it, and then he's like, "Wow," he's like, "This is so cool." And I'm like slightly across the street just waiting for him, and as he walks around the side of the car, he takes his hand and he runs it down the whole side of the car. Now listen, not a big deal, he didn't scratch
Was he holding
anything.
keys?
But people who have that car, like now it's like a little kid's handprint down the whole side of his car. I was like, oh man,
look, I got the hood ornament, Mommy.
Yeah, seriously. I was like,
that used to be a thing.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Here's a text that says, used to work at Walmart, broke an extremely expensive exercise equipment piece. I was bored out of my mind, and I was doing something I shouldn't have been doing, and knocked it off the shelf and shattered a bunch of pieces on it.
No.
I put it back on the shelf, set it up so that it looks okay. Customer went to use it weeks later, and it broke instantly.
Oh, what'd you do?
Customer was insanely embarrassed and was just happy no one found out it was me.
Dear God, man, don't you have any sense?
Oh my God,
of how fragile things are,
sir, what are you doing?
Have some respect for the people of the store who work diligently to make sure these things are safely displayed.
Wow.
You are to leave this Walmart.
Well, it happens. It definitely happens. So, all right. Well, thank you for the stories. We appreciate that. We do need to take a break. As I said earlier, Casey is out today, so Marisa Magnotta is playing the role of Casey Boy here in our studio today. And she's handing me things to give away, and I will comply because we have tickets to see Jurassic World Dominion.
Cool.
We have a 4-pack of tickets, and this screening will be Tuesday the 7th, so it'll be a week from today at 7 p.m. at the UA King of Prussia, and then it hits theaters on June 10th. So we'll take callers 8, 9, and 10 at 215-263-WMMR, and those passes are on us. And while you're calling, you may want to text as well when you get a chance, because we have a Tattoos Day today. It's a chance for win a $350 gift certificate for Floating World Tattoo and Piercing for your Preston and Steve themed tattoo. They're located at 1729 South Street in Philly, and you can check out their artwork samples. Go to floatingworldtattoo.com or do a search on the Instagram. You'll be able to check them out there, too. We'll take a break. I got some B-File stories. I think you're going to like them. We'll get to them when we return. Stay there.
You know, Adam Sandler's a good actor.
Yep.
The trailer looks solid. You know that they were authentically shooting all around the area. So I'm very psyched.
Yep. Case you kind of exhaled. What?
Rocky's number one, right?
Well, I don't know. Let's find out. Well, yes, of course it's going to be number one, right?
No, it's not. No.
All right, so
It's Racing Stripes.
number 10 on this list is Rocky 2. So that's when he ends up beating Apollo, right?
Yeah. You know what? I like Rocky too. It's not, oddly enough, it's very dismissible for me.
To me, it seems like Rocky was so successful that they were like, we need to do Rocky over again, but he wins at the end.
You kind of nailed it, and it was sort of the inevitable. He had to win. It was. So I guess that's why it held less impact for me, because you knew what was going to happen.
Yeah,
and he had to win. And they had the Adrian in the coma in the hospital and all that stuff. It was Stallone directing. And he proved he could direct.
Steve, so you mentioned Adrian in the coma.
What are we waiting for? Come on! Yeah, what are we waiting for? You don't see it, Preston, but as Mickey...
On 93.3 WMMR.
All right, let's do this again. I got some more bizarre file stories to share.
WMMR presents Preston and Steve's Bizarre File.
Brought to you by Neumann University. And don't forget that our YouTube live stream is powered by Neumann University. If you're looking for online bachelor's degree completion programs, doctorate programs, and graduate programs, you got to join the webinar July 9th. More information at newman.edu. All right, we'll start with a pretty messed up story. A Tennessee man is facing charges after being accused of beating another man with a plunger.
Oh, man.
Then pouring bleach on him and kidnapping hhis child. 19-year-old Charles Kaufman was charged with aggravated kidnapping, attempted second-degree murder, and tampering with evidence. Police said that Kaufman was allegedly asked by the child's mother to take an Uber to the home and pick up the 3-year-old child. Once there, Kaufman said he got in a physical fight with the victim. He slammed the victim to the ground, struck him in the face multiple times with his fist, struck him with a toilet plunger, and stuffed the plunger into his mouth.
Ow!
Yeah.
So it's one of those plungers.
The report said that Kaufman then allegedly dragged the victim into the bathroom, stripped him naked, and poured bleach on his wounds.
Wow, that's like torture level.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Found the victim while conducting a wellness check at around 4 a.m. on Sunday. Entry, according to the report, was forced into the residence, and the victim was found in the bathroom naked and with serious head injuries. A 3-year-old child and a Ford Expedition were both missing. The man was taken to a hospital where he suffered a subdural hematoma and other serious injuries.
That's brutal.
Police said they then interviewed the mom of the child, who said that she had never spoken to Kaufman or would allow him to take her child. Siverville police found the car soon after they had reported it missing, with Kaufman, a woman, and the child inside. The child was taken to a nearby hospital to be evaluated. Kaufman's being held in the county jail. How disturbing is that?
He kidnapped the child?
Yeah, it's very strange. One 4-legged visitor strolled into the Anchorage Fire Department maintenance shop, not looking for an oil change, but instead searching for her babies. According to mechanic Ryan Donahue, he said, "I heard grunting, and I got out of the rig and went behind it, and there is a mama moose inside of the maintenance shop."
My babies. I can't find my babies.
Did you see the video?
I did.
The guy's like, "There's a moose in here," and nobody responds at all.
Yeah,
Why don't you forget the moose for a moment?
He said,
"Don't forget the moose. I need to find my babies."
He said she didn't seem upset, so I just got my phone out and I started filming. Now, Donahue said the moose was only inside the building for about 20 seconds after
Is this a firehouse?
realized her calves weren't with her. He was surprised to see the video that he took of her visit quickly generated tens of thousands of likes and shares on social media. He said, "I'm from here. I see moose every single day." He said, "But they normally don't walk into your shop every day." It is kind of cool. So, yeah, they just kind of strolled on in and didn't see her babies and walked on out.
They're improbable animals because their bodies are so huge, but their legs are sort of spindly.
Yep, they're biggies. Police in Michigan used a beverage on a drone to lure a man out of a bank and shoot him dead during a multi-hour hostage standoff in the middle of a packed commercial district.
Who wants a beer?
The man, who was not being identified, took an employee of
Yummy.
a Mercantile Bank in Saginaw Township hostage on Friday. The standoff resulted in a half-mile stretch of State Street, which is the main business thoroughfare in the area, to get shut down for several hours. The man held the hostage, who was reportedly injured, for several hours as police negotiators attempted to reason with the suspect. During the tense negotiations, police used a drone to deliver a drink to the parched man and used the opportunity to end the standoff when he came out to retrieve it. The officer, that was a spokesperson, said when he exposed himself, the trooper was able to take a shot. Spectators reported hearing an explosion around 8:05 p.m. that night, prompting ambulances to rush to the scene. The freed hostage was taken to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries and has since been discharged in good condition. But
Looking for my babies.
How did the moose get in here? All right, and then how about this story? This is out of Norway. Thousands of Norwegians were mistakenly told that they had won life-changing sums of money in the country's Euro jackpot draw after an error by the state-owned gambling operator Norsk Tipping.
Could there be anything? Obviously, there's many things that are worse, but that's just horrible.
In a statement on Friday, Norsk Tipping said several thousand customers were notified of incorrectly high prizes. The mistake has prompted the resignation of the company's chief executive.
It was a mistake.
The company received prize amounts from Germany in euros, which are then converted to Norwegian kroner. And they said it's during this conversion that a manual error had been made in the code that is entered into our game engine. The company said in a statement the amount had been multiplied by 100 instead of being divided by 100.
Oh, man.
So the inflated sums were displayed on the company's website and mobile app on Friday, but were later removed. Norsk Tipping confirmed no incorrect payouts were made.
This is goddamn ridiculous.
The error has triggered sharp criticism from customers, regulators, and Norwegian Minister of Culture. The company held an emergency meeting with the Ministry of Culture on Saturday, and the CEO, Tonje Sagtun, had announced that she would step down. So several Norwegians had begun celebrating before discovering the mistake. One couple believed that they had won over $100,000 during a home renovation, while others said they planned to buy cars or take holidays before realizing the messages were incorrect. Another woman said it was a very fun minute. She thought she'd won nearly $300,000 actually.
Wow.
But yeah, they had to take it back. And
it's a little deflating.
I can't imagine. You think at that moment that you have gotten it, and it turns out to be a bunch of garbage. All right, and there you go. That is what I have in the bizarre file for you this morning. When we return, we're going to see how closely you've been listening to our program. We'll have a lesson question. We'll get into the trash and music news as well. So that's coming up next. Stay with us.
Preston and Steve.
To get out of he pulls out one of the IVs.
Oh, and he yanks the whole thing. She goes,
hey, I got some bad news. Somehow, one of her wires popped out and she's dead.
Is that the one where he chases the chicken too? When he's training him and has
and he's it's really well done. He had the priest. He has the priest that he yells to from the window. He's driving the Trans Am. Remember that?
Yeah.
It's well done.
Is that
really
where the bells come in, like the boom, and when the Rocky theme starts?
Yes,
like that. Not that.
No. Okay.
The hell was that?
You know, is that the bell that they use at Eagles games?
Yeah, they use it a lot in sports events now. It's the best of the pumping you up Rocky theme music.
Yes, I agree. I love that. But Steve, I think I speak for you. There's two movies in that franchise, Rocky 1 and Rocky Balboa.
Yeah. And sometimes I'm like, people don't, how can you not see it?
Yeah.
I love them both. Those to me capture that spirit. And God almighty, Rocky's so good. I just watched it again in its entirety straight through, and you just appreciate how fantastic it is.
Yeah. Rocky 4 is good. It is a good movie.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's not Rocky 5.
Did you see the director's cut?
Not yet.
His edition?
Have you seen it yet?
He tweaked. No, I've seen some of the things that they've done. They removed some of the cheese from it. Stallone did. Again, look at all the... Not only in those movies was Stallone getting into near pass-out, ripped-up shape to be in the movies, he was also writing and directing.
But like for me...
Massive accomplishment.
When did that come out? 87, 88, 89, something like that?
Around that time.
It was, and they catered that movie to me. Do you know what I mean? Like
yes.
to some 13,
it was
14,
a big hit.
15-year-old kid. Yeah.
But I think the one like Rocky 3, Clubber Lang... and then it kind of leaves the planet for a while with Rocky IV, and then Rocky V tried to be, really, down to earth.
They've tried to dial it back too much,
and that's where they made Rocky just completely brain dead.
I guess Rocky Balboa was the movie that Rocky V was actually trying to be.
Exactly.
It was just terrible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So is Creed in this franchise?
Creed is in this franchise,
Okay.
but let's move on
All
to this list. Mike Cielski's column of the best and worst Philly sports movies of all time. Number 9, he puts down as Invincible as one of the best.
It's a good movie.
Franchises. Yeah, it is a good movie. There are things I liked about it and other things that didn't touch too well.
That
with
are
me.
cheesy and hokey, but it captures, I think, the spirit of the Philadelphia sports fan. I think it's telling that there's really no victory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not. Well,
Right?
no. The victory was
You played really well.
he picked up a fumble and took it in for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Or he had a strip sack or something like that.
You did a good thing there.
I think they got 3 wins that season, Case, or something. Like, it's not-
Ladies and gentlemen, a player just did something good.
They didn't win the Super Bowl. They didn't win a playoff game. They won a game.
They won a game.
But he was a nobody.
Yeah.
who
That's
was
the
able
story.
who was able to make a difference in a game.
And
he got a couple of years out of a career out of it.
Totally,
So,
yeah.
And his friends and the bar and his kind of
These things.
Elizabeth Banks, the girl who she was a Giants fan. Remember, she's from she didn't. They thought we were going to get together, but they got together. It was very good.
Thank you.
We met a kid yesterday named Holden, and Holden is the son of one of the stars of the movie.
Oh yeah.
Gosh, what was the guy's name?
Greg Kinnear?
No.
Stink Fisher.
Stink Fisher, that's
Yeah.
it. So we met Stink Fisher's boy Holden yesterday.
Yeah,
And speaking of Greg Kinnear, he was good as Vermeil.
He was.
He was?
Yeah.
He was really good. So, Invincible, it's a good movie. All right, this one I never saw. Warrior.
Yes.
He has his number 8.
That is a really good movie. That's one of the first times I saw Tom Hardy.
Oh, that's the MMA movie?
The MMA movie.
Yeah, okay.
2 brothers, one from Philadelphia, one from Pittsburgh, battle in a mixed martial arts tournament, and in doing so learn how to love each other and come to terms with their family, turmoil, and the darkest mistakes and moments of their past.
It's not a bad movie by any stretch. It's a good movie. It's engaging.
It just sort of wraps up a little bit too quick. I actually just watched it for the first time maybe a month or 2 months ago.
They
And I-
should have had 6 jars of farts.
Well, I just thought it just sort of wrapped up too tidily and too nice and very quickly.
Agreed. You know what,
know?
though? Here's the deal. Do you guys agree with this in general? Give me enough of what a good sports triumph movie should have, and I'll play along through the cheesy, hokey stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so, and Warriors did that.
And what this movie, so now that we have all these streaming things, so this movie just wrapped up too quickly because they only did it in a 2 hour
They were supposed to go
span.
into space.
No. But they did it they only had 2 hours to
Right.
get this
Yep.
whole story together. And now with all these streaming platforms, you can give it the treatment that it perhaps
It's
needs.
basically what Frank Grillo's series did.
Yeah.
You know, it was the same thing. He was able to carry it out over a longer run.
Yep.
Number 7 on this list of best Philly sports movies, Creed. At number 7, and I
great.
liked it. I thought it was a really
And Stallone.
Here's what I loved in Creed, and slight spoiler alert on this, but Rocky's retired. He's definitely not fighting anymore. He's training Apollo Creed's son. But in true Rocky form, they find a way to make him train and fight again, but he's fighting cancer.
Yeah.
And they treat it almost like he's training for a boxing match. And I'm like, they did it.
Brilliant.
I'm like, they did it. They got Rocky to fight without fighting. He's fighting a battle of cancer. And I'm like, I thought it was brilliant. I
It
thought
was like an analogy.
It was.
Wait, what?
An analogy. That's when you have hay fever.
How do you spell
That's
that?
an allergy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I thought
K-A-T.
I thought it was brilliantly done the way they handled that part of it.
Do you know
And-
what it's like in Rocky Balboa, Preston, the conceit that had the video game pairing.
Yeah. How did they make it happen?
Yes,
And they did it.
That was really well done.
And they also in that movie were able to introduce the word John to the rest of the world.
That is true. She explains it to him, and they start using it in the movie. And then number 6 on this list, I like this movie. It's a dark movie. Big fan.
Yeah, oh my God! Yeah, with Patton Oswalt.
With Patton Oswalt.
It was
Casey, you got to watch
tremendous
it.
performance.
It's Casey.
I've seen the beginning of it.
As a football fan and somebody who will spar occasionally with Giants fans, you'll love the dynamic between those guys.
Only a little part of it takes place in Philly.
Yeah.
But he has a spat with a guy from Philadelphia Phil is what he calls himself, and that's
Rappaport.
Michael Rappaport.
Yeah.
And it's a dark look at somebody who really takes their fandom too far.
It's gotten away from them.
Too seriously.
It impacts their life to a ridiculous amount. But Patton Oswalt, I was like, that's my first time seeing him in like a dramatic turn.
Yeah.
I was like, he was really good in it. But yeah, Case,
I'll give it a go.
It's a good movie, and it's an interesting dynamic. I don't want to give it away, but he gets put in a strange position where his quote unquote fandom takes over.
Yes,
you'll have to see it.
Plus, there's a radio element to it as well.
Yeah,
so, like dealing with sports radio and what they have to deal with. Those guys down the hall like on a daily basis is an interesting dynamic as well.
But then also, the thing is the radio callers, they start to become like their own character, right?
Yep. Uh-huh.
They have their own nicknames that they've given themselves, and so they play into it as well. So,
All right, here's one I'm not familiar with. It's called The Last Game.
I saw it on the list as well. I'd heard the title. I've never seen it.
All right, so Kathy, this will be interesting to you because it's in Bucks County. He said it's a personal favorite. This documentary by a pair of independent filmmakers chronicles 1999 Central Bucks High School West football season.
Oh, yeah.
The final season in the storied career of Mike Pettin.
Yeah, Mike Pettin. So that guy had his long storied career.
Okay.
Coaching was at CB West. And as a matter of fact, my brother's, when he played for Cardinal O'Hara, played against his team.
I think there was a lot of indication of steroid use and stuff like that, right? Is that what this documentary is, or no?
I'll read you the description. It says, from CB West rivalry with North Penn, coached at the time by Mike Pettin Jr., to the Bucks' dramatic run to a third consecutive state championship. The story had plenty of natural drama and intriguing storylines, and anyone familiar with the history of Doylestown and or CB West football, under Pettin, the Bucks were arguably the top program in the country and can attest to the film's accuracy.
Okay, so maybe
it doesn't
maybe
cover,
that's
or
not it.
he didn't explain that in this.
Didn't delve into that.
He did not delve. Thank you. All right, so I don't know if you consider this a sports movie or not, but number 4 is Silver Linings Playbook.
I could see where you could in a way because it's so essential to De Niro's character. It's a prominent character in the movie, and also, Bradley Cooper's. Is it technically?
No, unless you consider the dance competition to be a sport as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they're constantly the movie revolves around watching the games and the betting
and
that's taking
superstition.
place. Yeah, and
the rituals,
superstition as well. And you know what, man? I know it won all the awards and people loved it. I didn't really like it a whole lot.
So how many stars out of 4 would you give it?
Like,
you can do half stars if you.
Yeah, maybe like 2.5, and that's just on a personal thing.
I thought it was okay.
I didn't love the characters, but some people, like my buddy's daughter, it is like her all-time favorite movie.
So for me, 3 stars, enjoyable. I like their romance, the flawed characters, and that's it. Yeah. I agree it wasn't as massive as it was depicted as, but a good movie.
But it struck a chord with a lot of people.
Was it up for like Oscars? And
yes.
stuff? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she Jennifer Lawrence won an Oscar.
I couldn't remember.
Best supporting actress, right?
I believe
Didn't
so.
She win for that. Yeah,
actress in a leading role.
Leading role. Yeah, that's right. That wasn't a supporting role.
It was nominated for Best Picture and Best Actor for Bradley Cooper, Best Supporting Actor De Niro. So yeah, a lot of nominations.
Okay. If we're leaving anything out, please feel free to give us a call. All right, 215-263-WMMR. These are the best Philly sports movies. This is Mike Cielski, columnist who wrote this article. Number 3 on this list, okay, strange movie, Foxcatcher.
DuPont.
Yeah, and I know they take a little bit of license with the actual story in it, but Steve Carell is just like gross.
He's goo-goo for Go-Go Bugs.
He is that. He's nutty. He goes over the top. But it's a
you don't recognize Carell too by the the prosthesis or whatever he's wearing.
Yep. And great song, Blues Traveler, 93.3 WNMR. You need a little melodic sing-along. As we are approaching the end of our program, but we have a few things to do before we wrap for the day, my friend. I'm going to remind you about an announcement we made earlier this morning. We have a new big friggin' deal, and you can take advantage of this now while supplies last. It's only good through the 6th. So today is the 1st. It's only good through the 6th, and it is 2 single-day wristbands for the price of one for the Funplex, Mount Laurel, New Jersey. It's a great deal. You get unlimited access to indoor and outdoor rides, Splashplex, water park, and 1 hour bowling and $5 arcade cards. So
nice.
Go to WMMR.com/deals, and that's where you can exclusively get that. All right, lesson question time. We are going to give away for this pair of tickets as MMR rocks Young the Giant. Their tour is called In the Open, and the show is Saturday, July 12th at the Tropicana Showroom, and that's in Atlantic City. And the question that I ask you is this. What costume does Steve like to wear when he's breakdancing during a lightning storm? All right, 610-660-9333. I keep fading up the wrong damn thing. I'm sorry. It's
you
my
have some
fault.
wonky fader situation going on over there.
What costume does Steve like to wear when he's breakdancing during a lightning storm? Let's see if you know the answer to that. 610-660-9333. And let's do the trash while you're calling in.
The trash business is a gold mine. 93.3 WMMR with Preston and Steve's Hollywood Trash.
All right, and it's powered by PGW. Philadelphia landlords, register your residential rental property in the Landlord Cooperation Program with PGW, and you may not be subject to a lien on that property. Learn more about how to register your rental property at pgworks.com. Steve, what's going on this morning?
Well, Rosie O'Donnell attacking Jeff Bezos, saying he ditched his salt-of-the-earth ex-wife, Mackenzie Scott, for, quote, fembot Lauren Sanchez. Scott, who received $38 billion in the divorce, responded to Rosie saying, I'm good, so don't worry about it.
Oh, my God.
Cobra Kai star Alicia Hannah Kim taking to Instagram to address an incident in which co-star Martin Kove bit her arm at a fan convention last week. In the video, Alicia says she just wants to get past the incident, but also raised suspicion that Kove might have eaten Pat Morita. That's bad. And finally, Paul Simon had to cancel multiple shows in Philly this past weekend, citing intense back pain. Apparently, Simon suffered a horrendous muscle pull while filming a Nat Geo special called Could Paul Simon Beat Up a Gorilla? And that's your Hollywood Trash.
Heidi, we're going to try to find someone who knows the answer to this question, which is what costume does Steve like to wear when he's breakdancing during a lightning storm? And we've got Brendan that we're going to go to try and get a winner here. Brendan, you're on the air. Good morning, bud.
Good morning.
All right, so what costume does Steve like to wear when he's breakdancing in a lightning storm?
That would be C-3PO.
That is correct. One moment, my friend. We'll gather your information, and then we are going to give you a pair of tickets to see Young the Giant in the Open 2025 tour. Saturday, July 12th. That's at the Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. Tickets are on sale now via Ticketmaster. Come on now.
Now, Preston and Steve's Music News on 93.3 WMMR.
Brought to you by Sequoia Outback. Celebrate freedom from your aging deckhand. Get serious savings during Sequoia's 4th of July sale, Route 309 in Hatfield, and online at decksupplies.com. Well, with Rod Stewart opting out of several concerts in the weeks leading up to his Glastonbury appearance, fans had to be wondering what kind of performance, if any at all, that because he's been ill and he is 80 years old, but they would get from Sir Rod. And they needn't have worried. After negotiating an extra 15 minutes for his headlining legend slot, Stewart brought his A game and some friends along as well. Taking the stage with him at various times, fellow Faces bandmate Ronnie Wood, Simply Red singer Mike Hucknall, and Lulu as well. Stewart and Hucknall duetted on the classic If You Don't Know Me By Now. Lulu joined him for Hot Legs, and Wood accompanied him on Stay With Me. So
something about that guy really melts my butter.
Yeah. I watched a little video of it, and he's got good energy and everything.
Yeah.
The voice is definitely
a little wobbly?
80 years old.
All right.
Well, just the range.
Yes.
You know, the range falters out. There was another video footage, bit of footage that I saw the other day, and so the Scorpions are celebrating their 60th year
It's
together.
astonishing.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
And Klaus Meine, the lead singer, there's a video of him on stage, and
it's not the same.
It's just his jowls are huge.
No.
He can't hit the notes anymore. But, I mean, the guitarist, I've forgotten his name. It's not Shanker, but anyhow, was ripping and playing great guitar solos and everything. So there was still some energy left. But singers have a real hard time when they hit a certain age, and
very few can keep it going.
If you go in expecting that, then you're not going to be disappointed.
Right.
But if you go in thinking you're going to see the old band, it's kind of a different
So
story.
you're saying he might not melt your butter, but he will warm it up.
He'll warm it up a little bit. Yeah. Hold on. Matthias Jobs. That's the guitarist's name. So, but he was still shredding. So,
did he do like? Do you think I'm sexy? Yeah.
Oh,
Rod Stewart.
Rod Stewart. The clip I saw of him was singing "Do You Think I'm Sexy?"
But now it's "Do You Think I'm Continent?"
Yeah, it's a question we all have.
No, the guy still's got. And didn't he and his son get in a brawl with somebody at a hotel?
I don't know.
Like about a year ago,
maybe.
He's got a little rascal in him.
He's better at now that he does like the standards, the classics,
right?
Are more tailored to his style now.
Yeah.
So. Pulling off like "Stay With Me" and stuff like that is a little bit harder.
A little tougher. Yeah.
But Rod's great. I've seen him in concert. It's amazing. So it's cool that he's still going at 80. 3 Days Grace just joined Spotify's Billions Club.
Jeez.
Their 2003 debut single, "I Hate Everything About You," has now have been streamed more than 1 billion times, making the Ontario Rockers only the second Canadian band to reach that mark.
Yeah, we're at Spotify.
The group thanked fans, laughing that the breakup song is somehow in a lot of wedding and first dance picks. The classic hit tops a catalog that already boasts 19 number one rock radio singles. To cap the good news, the band confirmed its first album with returning original singer Adam Gontier, titled "Alienation." The record is due out on August 22nd through RCA. So if you are a part of the MTV generation, you probably complained about how the channel no longer shows music videos. But beginning on September 1st, in the week leading up to the 2025 Video Music Awards, which will air on CBS September 7th, MTV will go back to doing what it once did best, airing videos selected from throughout its 44-year history. In their press release, it said in the run-up to the Video Music Awards, MTV will air an unprecedented week of 24/7 music videos across MTV2, MTV Live, and MTV Classic, both classic and current, in a revival of the brand's early DNA reimagined for today's audiences.
Do you think, despite shifting viewing habits, if they were to re-embrace running music videos from current artists, do you think they could generate any interest if they packaged it in a more contemporary way?
No, I
or
feel
is
like-
has that ship sailed?
I feel like
I
that
think,
ship is sailed.
yeah, I think so.
Would
too.
you do it? I mean, if I want to watch a music video from a band that's current that I like, I just go to YouTube.
Yeah, there used to be, though, and Preston, we were talking about it, the passive sort of sitting there and being introduced to new stuff. Like you're hunting down something you want to listen to, but just the notion of putting on MTV, I like this band now. I like this. I didn't know about this. If that serves any purpose, or is it?
I think it's over
after the fact.
Yeah, I think it's way after the fact.
Son of a bitch.
Well, they're so different.
I wanted to be a VJ.
Well, there are so many different ways that you can access the bands, musicians. Back when MTV was in its heyday, and even several years into it or after it, there was still limited access on how you could actually see your favorite bands.
I'm saying though, from a Whitman sampling point of view, though, you never heard of this band, but it comes up and you're going to now pay attention to them. I don't. That's probably less of an opportunity now.
Well, I wouldn't be even interested in just putting it on in the first place for that. So, but no list. They're actually going to. It says past MVA winners and legendary MTV personalities will return to curate and spotlight their 7 favorite music videos of all time, offering fans an intimate glimpse into the music videos that shaped them.
Would it be wild if they could get Michael Jackson back?
Oh my God, it'd be crazy.
There's no list of participating stars yet, but it's a safe bet that many of the stars who jump-started their careers on the channel, like Carson Daly, will make their return. It's also a safe bet that the video lineup will include the hundreds of iconic videos that are synonymous with the channel, which helped introduce the public to everyone from Madonna to Nirvana to Britney Spears.
Because do you remember how big that TRL show. It was huge.
Yeah. And then one last thing, Steve touched on this, but Paul Simon canceled 2 shows this weekend due to chronic and intense back pain. I revealed the news with a statement on Instagram just hours before the shows was set to take place on Saturday at the Academy of Music in Philly. The release said Paul's been struggling with chronic and intense back pain. Today became unimaginable and demands immediate attention. Unfortunately, we have to cancel these shows at the time as we don't have the ability to reschedule them. It's not all bad news for fans, though, as they share that they are hopeful that Paul will be able to make the tour as well as look into returning to make up these dates. So fans should look for a refund coming from the original point of purchase.
Right. It was my understanding that at the last minute they were going to try to swap in Marilyn Manson, but I thought it would have been a different audience.
Yeah, maybe. All right, and that's what I have in music news for you. We'll take a final break when we return, wrapping up the show and letter of the day for the Word of the Week prize, which is only 3 letters this week. So it's crucial that you get this first one. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Preston and Steve.
Who plays the
Channing
wrestler?
Tatum.
No.
Anthony Michael Hall?
No.
Mark Ruffalo?
Mark Ruffalo. He got really beefed up for that role.
yeah.
He doesn't. It's hard to recognize, but it's a messed up story, and that whole John DuPont going off the rails, mental illness thing,
Wrestlers in the walls.
Yeah. It's crazy, and it's kind of hard to watch. But another dramatic role that you're not used to seeing Steve Carell in. Number 2, speaking of wrestling, The Wrestler.
Yeah.
He considers that a Philadelphia sports movie.
So it's taking place in proximity? Is it? I didn't make the connection that it's...
They end up in Atlantic City at one point, right?
Right.
Yes.
I think.
When he reunites with his daughter.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
briefly.
consider it a Philly movie, though.
Me either, but I guess it's in
It's a great
proximity.
movie.
Maybe that last match takes place in the Philadelphia region. I don't remember.
The one
It's been a
thing you
while.
can't argue is that from beginning to end, it is so funny.
It's hilarious. No, it is a brilliant movie.
It's heart-wrenching.
And it's tough. It's tough to watch. A lot of heartbreaks in that movie. But
And
it's
you
great.
understand why he won the Oscar.
Yeah. Number 1 on this list is Rocky.
Yes.
Of course. Yeah. So he puts that in as the great, and I agree.
And the way it should be.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, I think he really made a mistake by leaving Rocky Balboa off of here.
Oh, my God.
that
Yeah. No,
movie's-
that's more than Silver Linings Play. I know you go to the Rocky well a lot with these things because, that is the most famous sports movie to come out of this
Is
city.
that the best Philadelphia movie? Is it better than Philadelphia? Is it better than...
The boxing scene in Philadelphia is not as good because he's so sick.
Is it better than The Sixth
He
Sense?
didn't stand a chance.
No. Why did it even make that match?
I think it's the greatest Philadelphia movie ever.
Okay.
Or it's the one that I immediately think of. But
Even over the Philadelphia Experiment?
but what did you mention?
Sixth Sense, Philadelphia.
Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense.
Pretty
Unbreakable
freaking good.
is a Philadelphia movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
If you're-
maybe that's another topic for another time.
That's a
Right.
tough call. Wow, interesting. All right, let me ask you this. Speaking of topics, and this is one to bring up out of nowhere. What is the Philadelphia sports movie yet to be made? What story? What story is out there that would make for a good movie?
I know one.
And you can't just say the Eagles Super Bowl because
Right.
a team wins the Super Bowl every year. It's got to have
Rob
something
Zombie's
beyond that.
Broad Street
the
Bullies?
Broad Street Bullies.
was supposed to be made. It was
Yeah.
like 60% on the way.
Yeah.
And it was looked like it was going to happen, and it didn't.
Yeah, that's a good story and sort of the rise out of coming out of nowhere because they were a young franchise at the time, right? They were
Right.
67, 68 is when they were started, and so they won the Stanley Cup by 74. For me, the Eric Lindros story is a fascinating one. The rise and fall of that guy and his departure when he left in 99, 2000.
That would make for interesting.
What was it? I'm sorry.
The rise and fall of Eric Lindros.
Okay.
The taking of the captaincy off of his jersey. They did it on live television. The Bob Clark and Ed Snyder versus Eric's dad, Carl, and like all of that drama to me is fascinating.
There was a brief period in time where Daniel Day-Lewis had signed to play Barbara.
No.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
He's amazing.
He is amazing.
In that
He can pull it off.
suit?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
No, I think the story of Leonard Toast, the former owner of the Philadelphia Eagles, I mean, he essentially lost the team because of, I believe, gambling.
Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. Somebody pointed this out. Nick, you'll have to remind me. Somebody said the Flyers versus the Red Army. Didn't they play the national Russian team? The Flyers did as their warm up for Olympics. I thought.
Well, it was an international series.
Yeah. And the Flyers played so dirty.
They left the ice.
That they left the ice, right?
It was a game at the Spectrum, and the Flyers were a physical team.
No, we didn't play the hockey the best that we could have, but we played to win.
I think that was 76.
And you not know neither borscht.
But that could have been. Was that Broad Street Bullies?
Yeah, I mean, it was after they won the Stanley Cup, but they were still the same team, essentially, and they played rough, and the Dave Schultz and the Watson brothers and the whole nine, and they played so tough against the Red Army team that the Red Army team said, we're not playing anymore. They left the ice, and it took forever for them to come back out.
I would like to see the movie that depicts the setting of 3 world records in the dumpster pool.
Oh,
sure.
Wow, in one day.
Yeah,
that could be a good one.
I mean, we have a documentary of it, but I think, something a little bit more dramatic.
A number of callers are saying that this one should be on the list. I'm going to go to Chris. Hey, Chris, good morning.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Good. What's up, buddy?
So I'm going to premise this. I am not an Eagles fan. I cannot stand the Eagles. I can't even stand the color green. That's how much I can't stand the Eagles.
Wow. Okay.
Should I hang up on him now?
Well, I don't know. Where are you from, Chris?
I'm from this area. I'm a Philly guy. I'm from Newark, Delaware. I love the Flyers. I bleed black and orange. Like, I'm a diehard Flyers fan.
Okay.
That's about the only team I bleed for Philly. So that's why it's kind of shocking. I'm calling about this movie here. It's the garbage-picking, field goal-kicking Philadelphia phenomenon with Tony Danza.
Tony Danza. Yeah, that's
he went from a garbage man to a field goal kicker for the Eagles.
Among the worst movies
It's a classic, yeah.
It's so bad.
I've never seen it. I've heard of it.
Well,
it's very bad.
You should rent it. And actually, you should rent out a theater and go watch it there.
That bad, Chris, huh?
Yeah, somebody pointed out to me I have a phobia with green. They're like, you don't like Seattle, you don't even like the Dolphins, you don't like Green Bay. I'm like, well, maybe I just don't like the color green. Apparently,
that's probably it.
That's it. All right, thanks, man.
Make sure you see it in IMAX.
The trash picking, field goal kicking,
Philadelphia
phenomenon. Okay,
it's bad,
and he just happened to all right, let me go to our buddy Craig Legons is on the line. Hey, Craig. Good morning.
By myself, I'll take you all
physically and sexually.
We'll go behind that shed there. All right, Craig. So, are you calling in for what needs to be told? The story that would make a good movie?
Yeah, that, and there's also a movie that a lot of people haven't seen. It's called Snipes. That was set here in Philly. It's not a sports movie, but it's a competition film, and I always thought it made a good sports movie. It was about the culture of tagging. See all graffiti art in Philly?
Right.
Well, there was this movie called Snipes where rival taggers, rival graffiti artists, competed with each other to see who could get the best spot, like the most impossible to get spot to tag their...
It's 10:34, Preston and Steve radio program. Coming to an end for the day. Thanks for hanging out with us. We definitely had an enjoyable time. No guests to speak of other than you and the many phone calls that we took, so we do appreciate that. I'll reiterate the one announcement that we made, which is the big friggin' deal. It's going now through the 6th, and it is at the Funplex, which is great. Mount Laurel, New Jersey, wonderful place. You get 2 single-day wristbands for the price of 1. And it's unlimited access to indoor and outdoor rides and the Splashplex water park.
Wow.
1 hour of bowling, $5 arcade card, and all that stuff. You can get it exclusively while supplies last at WMMR.com/deal. So make sure you take advantage of that before it is over and done with. Sarah Parker is back in our studio. Hi there, Sarah.
Is it just me, or does this Tuesday feel like a Monday, guys?
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, just making sure I'm not alone in that.
Were you in yesterday, too?
I was not.
You were not. Well, that's why it feels like Monday then.
Yeah, I'm all over the place this week. I'm in for Pierre Robert today. I'm in for Brent Porsche on Thursday. And I'm in for Jackie Bam Bam on Friday. And then back to my normal shift on Sunday afternoon. So, yeah, let's hang out all week.
You're just bouncing all over the place.
I try. Coffee helps.
All good.
There you go.
All right, we need a letter for the letter of the day. Ready?
Let's do it.
There you go.
Preston and Steve on 93.3 WMMR.
Now, the Daily Letter.
And the Preston and Steve show is brought to you today by the letter.
S as in summertime.
All right, and we have $250 to Nebraska Brazilian Steakhouse and the Iron Abbey. You can make your 4th of July unforgettable with great food, cold brews, and good vibes at Iron Abbey's barbecue and brews bash. It's going to be 3 to 10 p.m. on the 4th. You can enjoy all-you-can-eat barbecue paired with 10 different draft beers or house wine, all for just $29.95. That's an amazing deal per person. For complete information, you can head to ironabbey.com. So, real quick, are you in today, tomorrow, and Thursday, or what?
Just for Pierre Robert today.
Just for okay, because I knew you were working the other shows. So I don't know if you work so much. I thought maybe
I
they
live
were
here.
doubling it up.
I live in the
everything.
Pierre Robert studios.
All right. What are you going to do with your time today?
Workforce blocks kick off at noon with truly everything that rocks. Korn, Mammoth, and Blondie. And it's Double Shot Tuesday. So make sure you give us a call, text in, fill in those double shots for us. We'll have them all afternoon.
Cool. Love it. All right. Thank you, Sarah. Good to see you. And thank you to our sponsors. Preston and Steve Show brought to you by Acme Markets, fresh foods, local flavors, and also brought to you by Duncan. And the Preston and Steve Show runs on Duncan. Oh, wait. It's Tattoo Tuesday. I forgot to tell you that we do have a winner, and I want to congratulate Tina Hutton of Upper Darby, Pennsylvania. Delco! Tina's getting the $350 gift certificate for Floating World Tattoo and Piercing, 1729 South Street in Philadelphia. You want to check out those artwork samples. Whether you win or not, you want to check out Floating World Tattoos. You can go to floatingworldtattoos.com or check them out on Instagram at Floating World Tattoos. All right, tomorrow morning on our program on Wednesday, so we'll check in with Fox Good Day. We'll give stuff away. We'll have a good time. We'll hang out together. Yay! That's what we do. That's it. We're done. Rage on. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow, friend. Bye-bye.